right into it. So, Ryan Q Live, we're live for another virtual Zoom podcast because of the current state of affairs and this fucked up, crazy world going on. So, whoever wants to introduce yourself first, y'all can go and we'll get right into it.
Hey yo, it's your boy AJ King. Everybody, I'll give y'all the socials. Y'all can follow me at allday_AJ King, social media editor out in New York, but quarantining in the great city 215, you know what I mean, Philadelphia. So what's good, y'all?
And you
My name's Jordan, aka Jaywop6 on Twitter. You can follow me there on Twitter. Host of the Pop of the Man podcast, where we talk about basketball, music, everything in between. You can find us there. So you can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and any other streaming service you can think of.
Shout out to y'all fellas. All right, so speaking of music, I have someone presented this interesting question to me from like Lupe Fiasco apparently. So the question was, would y'all be willing, speaking for yourselves, would y'all be willing to trade in? All right, so let's say everything we kind of envision for Black people in the perfect world, all of our like injustices and oppressions and all that shit goes away. We good to go. We are like equally all that good shit, but we lose rap forever. There is no rap.
Oh wow!
Do you do it?
I'll let you take that one first, my man.
So wait, Lupe posed this question.
I believe so. Someone told it to me. I never heard him say this before.
Okay. I'm gonna say, well, of course. I mean, we still have soul. We still have R&B. So I'd hate it. Being a hip hop fan, loving rap, growing up in it, being a part of the culture. But for the sake of progressing as people, I'd definitely take losing it for equality. Because like I said, we still have R&B. We still have soul. We didn't, Black people, man, we're gonna create something. We're gonna create something new in a way. So if we didn't have rap, we'd create something else.
Yeah. I mean, damn, that's a really good question, man. That's a really good hypothetical. I'm like you said, Jay Watt, like I'm hip hop head, like 90s hip hop head too. Like I'm like still listening to boom bap and shit from like back in 94. You know what I mean? So I'm big into that. But yeah, man, I definitely would take not only equality, but in my perfect Black world, we got our own communities and our own society set up where we all are just self-sufficient and caring and loving for each other. So I definitely would take that for my people. And yeah, man, I like you said, I think we would create something even doper and even better. Not to mention jazz and blues and all the shit my old man, my pops loves. So
So I guess I'll be the devil's advocate. Like, like I don't know if I could just let it go. Like, I don't know. But when my man said it to me, I'm like, wow, that's probably one because I love hypotheticals. My whole podcast is based on hypotheticals for the most part. So I'm like, this is like the first hypothetical that had me stumped. I was like, I don't know. Like, of course, shout out to kings like y'all for the greater good. If it was up to y'all, we'd be good to go.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't have to make the choice at least. If you ask me, if the Lord asks me, I don't know. We might be at a standstill.
Like, can they go Hove?
It's all for the greater good though, man. Like at the end of the day, we gonna create something doper. Like we probably will have some shit even doper than rap. You know what I'm saying? And at the end, I mean, if you were in a utopia, like I'm assuming this hypothetical is we're in the Black utopia, and all we had to do was give up, especially after T.I. and Killer Mike have been making fools of themselves. I'm honestly tired of some of these rappers anyway, so I'm cool. I'm cool off it.
You know what? I wonder what like rap music would sound like though in a world where we didn't experience the trauma that like a lot of our music is like trauma filled. So like we didn't experience that. And that we lived in a perfect utopia. Well, I wonder would be like the early '80s rap was like these are the breaks, that type of music, rather than rather than we enjoying love right now.
Everybody be like Chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I pass on that. I'm good on that.
Chance, Logic. Who else we got?
Not Jordan Lucas because he talks about real world problems. I ain't that fond of them, but yeah, it'd be Logic.
Instead of having negative gimmicks, it will have the most positive gimmicks of all time, and have like just
we would still have problems.
Go.
It's crazy. I've
Russ is
actually
probably
never
the
listened to
epitome
Russ.
of that image, like of that type of music.
I've still never listened to Russ, so shouts out to me staying away from that. But I don't know. I mean, we will still have problems, but you're kind of right. If there was in the utopia, there's no oppression, there's no fuck the police, there's no like a lot of like the early hip hop was like really fuck the man, fuck
Yeah.
the oppressor.
Being
So it's like,
marginalized and expressing that. That's
yeah,
the crazy sick part about being black and being a rap fan is that we can't even imagine what it's like to not have such rooted oppression tied to us. Like we was like, what would our art even be? Like that's a
Yeah.
sick ass way of even thinking, unfortunately. Like, but that's all we know. Like literally since we've been here, been oppressed and talking about being oppressed. So that's crazy. So on that note, let's get right into the how are y'all doing personally? And then what are y'all thoughts and feelings about what's going on the past few days and stuff? Especially in regards to like, some of these more known figures and how they've been dealing with it and embarrassing themselves in certain ways.
well, you want me to take this one, bro?
Go ahead, go for it.
Man, life is really crazy. There's so many mixed emotions and feelings right now. Actually just got finished watching the president of the United States saying that he's gonna unleash military, U.S. military into our cities and trying to get some of the stuff under control. And I'm just like, this can't be real life. It almost feels like we're in the Twilight Zone right now. So a lot of thoughts and feelings. I think I'll just speak for now on what I was just saying about how some of our Black leaders, which happen to be in the hip hop community, stuff like that. Part of it is we probably shouldn't look up to those people who make their money and made their fame off of entertainment. We probably shouldn't look to them as leaders. But it's embarrassing to see Tip come out and say, "Oh, this is Atlanta is Wakanda," and why are we rioting? And it's like, man, and see so many people with prominence who have Black faces be like, violence isn't the answer, and stand down. And it's like, you kind of missing the point, man. Like we've been struggling with this for so long. We've been telling people that we getting killed by the cops. We've been shouting that since before I was born. You talking about Rodney King was 30 some odd years ago now. And we've been shouting this to the rooftops. And at a certain point, you got to understand that people are going to get fed up and go into that. So that's my initial thing is I'm just disappointed in some of the people that we have put a lot of money and backing to kind of being on the BS and being on the stand down mentality when it's
kind
like
of revealing themselves to be like Black culture vultures in a sense. Like,
exactly
people willing to take but not really give much back or not really be as aware, tapped into your consumers and your fans and people that put you in a position that you are kind of. So yeah.
exactly. And sorry, man, real quick. Also the Tory Lanez thing, like Tory Lanez coming out and being like, look, if you're not on the ground, if you're not in this, you can't speak on it. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, man, I understand if you want to stay in the crib and you worried about COVID-19. And I got a older moms that I need to make sure she's around on this earth for a long time. And I can't be passing nothing off to her. But these rappers with all this bread and these entertainers speaking greasy about protesters when you're not in the dirt, it's amazing to me that the dude Tory Lanez from Canada is the realest rapper in the game right now. It's unbelievable.
I would say this, like to your point about how disappointing it is seeing these rappers respond the way they do, because when earlier when I talked about like what rap is like basically anti-establishment, how it's always been like against the system, like rap is like the new rock and roll where it's like going against the rules. It's so weird to see these rappers who rap about breaking the laws and doing wrong and just basically doing what they want because they want to, saying, hey guys, looting is wrong. You shouldn't do that. And I'm like, it's, it just goes so much against their it tells a lot about them. Like that. Like it's kind of changes the way we should perceive them in a way that it'd be hard for me to listen to some of their music going forward, because like, okay, I saw you bowing down to the oppressor when during this time where we needed you to stand up, and now you're gonna get on a song and talk about, yeah, I slapped a dude because he crossed me. Like No, like I don't want to hear that after you said like, oh, yes, somebody got shot and killed, but you should stand down. But on my end, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna quickly say to your point, like Killer Mike literally rocking the shirt that said, what did it say? Kill your master.
Yes.
And talking about don't riot and loot. What the fuck are you talking about?
All right, so I'm gonna get back to Killer Mike though. But my thoughts on this whole thing has generally been like, it's really sometimes I really think about like, that when slavery was going on, when it was first implemented here, did they really have this type of foresight to see this far into the future and know what will be going on today? Because when you think about just how conditionally fucked up and traumatized we are, and the type of slave mentalities so many people inhibit and don't even realize they do it, it's just like we are really fucked up. Like we've been through so much, and like we have so many different battles that still affect us today from shit that happened before any of us was even thought of by any way, whatever. So definitely a lot of people, all that to say, have just been revealing themselves to be house ass niggas, like to say the least. And people, instead of being like, cause again, like you said, everybody not gonna do everything. You don't have to be protesting. You don't have to be breaking in stores. You don't have to be posting up memes and messages all day. You don't got to be in the town hall meetings. But one thing I cannot tolerate, not only to tolerate, who am I, but one thing I personally can't stand and it aggravates me is people just going against the cause and just being so delusionally oblivious to what's going on. Like you said, like, and also not being aware of like any type of uprising, rebellion, or movement, whatever, there's casualties of war. So yes, of course, there's certain things that like it's unfortunate that's happening. Like someone car got fucked up, someone a black business. Again, of course, we shouldn't be going to black businesses. But if something happened to get messed up, that's very unfortunate. You have the right to be upset. But you should have the awareness to be like, this is bigger than me. This is a reason. You can't just be like, y'all doing this shit for no reason. Like, no, this is literally centuries of built up tension. This 1 year alone, we done dealt with a pandemic. People like Kobe Bryant died. We got the worst president of all time. Now we got fucking like the most like police murders like in the past 5 years. Like, it's like there's too much shit going on that you can't just be like, y'all doing this for nothing. I don't understand why y'all mad. Like, no, it's like you gotta be, or you just over that side. You rather keep the status quo because it's more convenient to you because you got your money up or whatever. You have white people, you have white investors. So you rather be like, oh no, it's cool. I mean, it's not that bad. Like, Master not that crazy. Like,
that's what it do start to sound like that.
He give me food sometimes. Like,
it do start to sound a little bit like that. And I really be trying not to make the slave comparisons because it is really dark and it takes us back to a dark place in our history. But it starts to sound like that sometimes. It's like, I ain't necessarily asking you to be on the front line. I get that you're not, and I'm not asking you to run in stores and loot, but like to come out and really like speak against your peoples that are struggling. People lost their jobs because of COVID-19. Like, people are really struggling, and then you see something as gruesome as the murder of George Floyd, and I get it. I get why people are in the streets mad. Like,
I had a girl tell me, I personally still haven't watched the video because I didn't want to put myself to that.
Me neither.
I had a girl tell me she saw the video and it triggered her because her cousin got killed by a cop a couple years ago, whatever. And I wasn't thinking about that. Like, of course, we all are traumatized just from social media, just seeing things, whatever. But that person never crossed my mind of thinking about how many people who've had people close to them get killed by a cop or something like that. And then you're a person seeing these things happen to other people, that's triggering you every single time on a deeper level than someone like me who fortunately haven't had someone close to me touched like that or whatever. So there's just so many levels and layers of trauma and frustration and tension that it's just like, you gotta be like, no, I understand. Like, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than all of us. Like, I get it. At the very least, I get it. And at the core of all this shit, it's because the police are in fucking wrong. Like, we reacting to this shit. They are the wrong. They are here to protect and serve. Now they're killing people. Like, that's bottom line shit that's wrong. So yeah, I just can't fuck with none of these people that's just against or just so tone deaf. Like, so many people are just tone deaf, which is wild to me.
And like, I think y'all made a great point, because I was gonna say, I don't understand why they just don't be quiet. Like, some of these guys literally don't have to say anything. Some like the comedian Desi, like those guys. Like in my mind, I think to myself, nobody would have been like, why didn't
Right.
Desi say something?
Where's Desi?
Yeah, like nobody. I don't feel like nobody
Wow,
really
I
felt
really
like he
wish
had
I
to say
knew what
something.
Desi was thinking.
Yeah, like I don't feel like nobody really needed that.
Disease. It make you just want to say something, and you end up saying something that you ain't. You first of all, you're not equipped to be talking, and or this. I have mixed feelings about that because I definitely get your point. Of course, most people don't need to be talking because like you said, I'm at the same beginning. You said black leaders. None of these niggas are leaders. They just got fame and attention.
They got money.
Right, exactly. You're not a leader, so you don't need to be speaking in a leadership like a role or whatever. But at the same time, I'm kind of happy these things are happening because no, reveal your hand. Like show what your true colors are. Like show you're not really with your actual audience or your consumer base. Like your consumers probably have the right to know that. Like, oh, okay. Like me, like I'm a person that compartmentalize. Like Lil Wayne, he one of my favorite rappers of all time. He said some nut ass coon shit. Not his first time.
Nope.
Me personally though, I can still listen to him and not be bothered by it. I don't care about him on a personal level. I'll never want to meet him. But the people that really are invested, I would totally understand someone saying, I will never listen to Lil Wayne ever again. I would like, right. I think they have not the right, but I can understand why someone would want to know that saying, oh, no, Wayne really don't give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
Like, say less. Like,
yes. And I'll go ahead.
I was going to say, like, for their sake, like for the celebrity's sake, that they see that people are persecuting those who are saying this dumb stuff. And like a guy like Desi, like I was saying, like he didn't really have to say anything. Like he could have chosen to be quiet and nobody would have said, I wish Desi would have said something during this time. Right. He could have got away with saying nothing. Yet I've seen so many people elect to just go out their way to say something offhand about the protesters. And that's why I'm thinking to myself that, you know, I was like, why are they doing this? Then y'all made a great point. A lot of them are trying to protect the status quo so they can maintain the positions that they have. And that makes so much more sense. Because I'm like, okay, they're doing this so they can maintain the status they have. A lot of their investors might be back pushing them like, hey, we want you to speak on it. Say something in favor of the police and not of black people. Mm-hmm. Now, when you point like that, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Like again, going back to your T.I. and your Killer Mike, that absolutely seemed like somebody higher up in law enforcement or in government was like, well, where can we get a rapper to come out and speak on our side? And you know, it just spoke to being not genuine. You know, trying to calm people down that without understanding their pain. You know, stuff like that.
So you know, like. No, you got I'm about to say, you know, like in a movie where like somebody's like being held captive and like they're like telling everything is fine, but like they're blinking really hard, so you know that not everything is fine. That's what I thought when I saw the Killer Mike interview where he's saying, "Yeah, guys, y'all should be looting and riding," but then he had the "Kill Your Master" shirt on. I feel like that was a cry for help from the inside, but he couldn't tell us like straight up that, hey, they making me say this. I thought about that, but, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt.
There's one thing I thought about coming. T.I., he had a fucking pocket. He just saying anything. T.I. just type of nigga that's read dictionaries, know what the fuck he talking about. Cool, I'm used to that. Killer Mike, though, at least for me, I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt because I realized a while ago is that me and him. Where you from again?
I'm from Mississippi.
Oh, from Mississippi. Cool. So Killer Mike, I feel like because you know we from Philly, I'm from Philly, so his perspective is always so Southern to me. Like he really just be talking about like, so I was from a farm and my great granddaddy was the first cop here and shit like that. Like, he really talking about Southern type shit. And you know, from what I've been told and hear about, it's like Atlanta really is like a special type of place, like the black concentration there and how black businesses thrives there. So I'm just like I can maybe hear you, like you like, yo, like let's move a little differently in Atlanta per se, because we have different type of ecosystem here versus, at least my memory of what he was saying, he wasn't saying like everybody in the country don't do. I think they was really just focusing on Atlanta because that is a special kind of place. And I've heard Killer Mike speak so much in the past, at least me, like very articulate and well and with good intent and very pro-black. I'm like, all right, like, you know, I can maybe shoot you some bail because, like, your perspective is totally different from mine. Like, you know, Philly isn't like that. You know, we can throw rocks at 100 businesses and maybe one be black. Like, it's not like that. So I was trying to give him some bail possible.
And even to add on to that, I think you know, Atlanta, a lot of businesses are geared toward Black consumers, whereas a city like Philly or even a NY or a DC, you might have a sprinkle in a couple of Black-owned businesses, but a lot of times stuff is really geared towards your white consumer or your non-Black consumer. Like if you go downtown in Philly or you I don't know, go to Times Square or go to the Lower East Side in New York, a lot of that stuff is like, yeah, I'm here and I see other Black people here too, but this experience isn't necessarily geared towards us. This isn't necessarily you know, going out of its way to make us feel comfortable. We're just here. You know what I mean? And Black people are gonna make shit fun no matter what, no matter where we go, because we're just like that and we're just dope like that. But getting back to Atlanta specifically, I get it. Like that's a really special place. I have family down there. I used to visit when I was a young bull. I think the last time I was in Atlanta was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So it is a special place. It's very Black. It sucks. It's the casualty of war thing you were talking about. It's like, damn, man, like why they have to burn down the, you know, the dopest, Blackest city in the country, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't want to make it seem like there's no injustices going on in Atlanta, because I saw people talking about, oh man, I think Killer Mike said something like, oh man, we prosecute the cops that kill Black people down here. Like, what? That don't even sound right. That doesn't even sound right. So, you know, at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's a really dope Black city. The power structure though is still from the top. You're still looking at a white power structure, and at the end of the day, sometimes the casualty of war has to you know, be made. And just to wrap up on that too, I went to school in Columbus, Ohio. That's still like one of my favorite places on earth to this day. And a similar thing happened where people start rioting, and some of the dopest Black-owned businesses that I used to frequent and that all my homies frequent to this day got looted and burnt up and tore up, and it sucks. And it really made me be like, damn. But I appreciate that those Black, even in that time of like, damn, my shit is getting torn up, those Black business owners still were like, look, we feel your pain, we understand where you're coming from, and we're gonna rebuild this and try to be stronger, because it's all about understanding where people are coming from right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Did you want to say something? You want to ask me?
The only thing I was going to add was that, I know a lot of times people talk about, you know, not destroying the Black community, and I understand that we should avoid that at all costs, but there are going to be some casualties of the war, like y'all have said. This almost is come a war of some sorts. But more importantly, like I said, I agree. Like, to be honest with you, try to, you know, steer your way towards the major corporations, because thing is, like, Atlanta is a very big city. If you ride into certain places that, you know, certain places like a Target will get messed up, but Target gonna fix themselves within the next 24 hours. So like, I'm not worried about like major corporations or anything like that having to shell out a little money to fix their buildings, because they're not gonna hurt any. But yeah, going down like specific neighborhoods where it's clear that if you do damage there, it'll never probably ever recover. I wish it was a more organized movement, so that we could steer way clear of those obvious places that you shouldn't be around. But then again, like I said, there are also some people who are going intentionally to those places to cause problems. And that's the one thing too. So even if we were to have a more organized movement, there would be still some people who like, well, I'm gonna run over here and do this and tear this up because I want to.
Right. So. I saw a good quote today actually from your man Jordan at Jordan Plain. Shout out to him.
Shout out to JP.
Yeah, he was like, I love Philly with all my heart, but if it has to burn to the ground so we can rise from the ashes, so be it. And I was like, that's an unfortunate truth or inconvenient truth that a lot of people don't want to face, because it's too disruptive and it's too fucked up. But with any change, like, it's going to get fucked up. Like, you gotta kind of break shit down to build it up properly with it. But, you know, again, a lot of people are more comfortable with the status quo. They're like, they usually being like, well, it ain't that bad. Like, you know, we made it this far. So, you know, It is what it
Yep.
is. Man.
I felt sorry man, but like I felt that way with I felt that way when I saw Walnut Street getting fucked up downtown Philly. I was like, damn man, so many memories. Me and the homies used to kick it down there. I used to scrap up my lunch money so I could cop a shirt from Urban Outfitters, and used to kick it in the Apple store. And you know, white folks always over your shoulder like, you better not be stealing nothing. But so many memories from that. But it's like, you know, again, sometimes when it's anger and people are screaming no justice, no peace, then sometimes there won't be peace if there's no justice.
Yeah, and I'll say this one thing before I switch to a slightly different topic. One thing I will say is, for at least for me, I feel like these things should continue in some capacity for the foreseeable future, and they should spread out. Though, you know, we should try to get away from our neighborhoods and our type businesses and start to stay clear, shit like that, whatever. But keep it up, keep the minimum energy up, and then eventually, like you said, we do need some type of sense of Black leadership and direction, and be like, all right, so let's keep. I want to, some people saying we should just stop. I want it to stop because then everything gonna stop. I feel like this momentum and energy needs to continue and then transfer possibly into some shit of like, all right, y'all, let's really break down this political space. Because, like, first of all, you know, I'm not the most political person. My mom did my ballot this year for me. Because, yeah, no, nigga, you gonna fucking vote, whatever. So, you know, I sent in my Biden, John, whatever. Like, it is what it is, whatever. And because at the end of the day, would you rather have another year of Trump? I mean, another round of Trump or not? Like, I understand Biden isn't the perfect thing, whatever though. But so once you get that out of the way, it's like, all right, if we really hate these cops and hate what's going on, we got to replace police commissioners. We got to replace certain things on a local level. And I feel like we need a direction to break politics down to like a tangible, understandable, digestible level where it's like, yo, we can get a direction for the Black voice of like, yo, we all want this. And lastly, the biggest thing is like, we have too many niggas with money that we have certain problems shouldn't be problems. Like, it's too many rich niggas that Flint is still an issue. This is like impossible. Like, it doesn't make any sense that all niggas flexing all this money, a little baby get 200 an occasion. That sounds amazing. Like, and Flint is right there still fucked up. So I feel like we need to be like, just take ownership over our own plight in certain regards. Of course, they doing that to us. That's another thing. But like, it's certain thing we can help ourselves and make us stronger as a unit, have more unity.
Absolutely. Yo, I'm curious, Jay, what's the feeling down in a place like Mississippi, or you know, some more southern states that are you know, going through this and seeing their brothers and sisters being killed and you know, tear gassed and all the bullshit. What's the feeling down there? Because I know the community is so tight knit.
It's not as erratic as like Atlanta. It hasn't swelled or anything of that nature. To my knowledge, there has not been any major riots. Here in Mississippi, I've heard about different organized events in northern Mississippi, southern Mississippi, around central Mississippi. But ultimately, people are stepping up, taking a leadership role and going out and protesting and marching in their respective cities. But things just haven't intensified to the level that it has on the national scale. I honestly can't. I don't foresee it getting that point here. But I will say this: I am proud of the state and the people in our state taking a stance and actually doing something. Because Mississippi has this generalized view of ignorance and people who don't really care about anything, and so a lot of people probably feel like, oh, there's nothing going on in Mississippi. But the reality is, people are here trying to make a stance, trying to make a difference, and trying to also help carry on that momentum that the other places have started.
Gotcha. Good there. So a girl asked me, one of my homegirls asked me the other day, she said, yo, when you have a child, like, how will you raise them in regards to dealing with cops? And I was really taken aback by it. And this might be like a week ago, whatever. And I was taken aback by it because I was like, honestly, it was never really a thing in my life. Like, it was like more just an understanding of like, this is just what it is. And my mom was just always just like, one, don't make it easy. Like, so don't be out here just driving reckless, smoking while you drink. Like, just don't make yourself like more of a target than you already are, because you are a target. If you a Black man by yourself, you're a Black man by yourself, Oh, and if you in a car with your friends, multiple black men, you more of a target, whatever. So just have the understanding and recognize it's gonna happen, whatever. And when it do, try to make it as smooth of a transaction as possible. Give them the license and move the fuck on, whatever. And I used to get pulled over a lot for whatever reason. Like in my early 20s, I got pulled over a fucking lot. I will say to this day, I've never got a speeding ticket, or maybe one. I got one ever in my life. So I just get pulled over. They just fuck with me, then just let me go. Oh, you not dirty, so you can go, whatever. But so I was telling her that. She was like, I don't know, and I just feel like it should be a thing, and that. So anyway, our debate went on to be like, at least me, right? Again, the cops are wrong no matter what, but I do feel I was always like, I'm not going to try to make this difficult than it needs to be, whatever. Like if I'm assuming you're a cop, and I'm assuming you probably don't fuck with me, you may be racist, whatever. I'd rather have as less dialogue with you as possible. Like I've never been the type to be like, why you pull me over? Like it's like, cause what am I even going to get from this question? Nothing even going to be conducive to this interaction. And I like, I thought of possibly being combative or antagonized situation. I never thought that was wise to do. So, and I feel that's a rule that I follow or I go by, and I think I would make my child be like, yo, like this, there's no reason to even talk to a cop. Also, at the end of the day, they are authority figures in society. They have their positions and ranks or whatever. So I was like, all right, you got it. Like this is most likely a lose-lose situation. So if you fucking with me, it's cool, you got it, whatever. I'd rather like take your badge number down mentally, then deal with it another way. But this one-on-one encounter, to me, it doesn't make sense to make this a bigger deal. So what are your thoughts on that? Whether your past experiences, general discussions, that's also been an underlying theme throughout a lot of these interactions recently of like, I seen when Shameik Moore got grounded up. He said something about the video of the guy, the young boy, mess with the cop. And my thing is like, again, I said what I just said, but I'm not going to, again, it's showing your hand. I'm not going to respond to that video of the cop being a dickhead and be like, see, black people, this is what we got to do. Because that's putting the onus on the victim of like, you should have did it. Like, so.
Yeah.
Operative word right there.
Oh, well, I'll say this is that, yes, you shouldn't be combative. Yes, you shouldn't be argumentative. And yes, you shouldn't put yourself in a position for those in authority to, do something crazy to you. But that's the thing about police brutality is that even when you are competitive, it doesn't warrant the response you get. Like the things that happened to George Floyd shouldn't have happened, even if he was being combative. They are trained to be able to detain people without, causing and inflicting pain. Right. But that being said, like, being a black male, with my child, when I was raising them, I would teach them how to not end up in that situation because that's the reality of what we live in. Until the day they change that, I'm going to teach them how to be diligent and teach my child how to prevent themselves from end up in those situations.
As otherwise, best you can too.
Like, best you can, because the thing is, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes you can there's some people who have been the victim of police brutality that have done absolutely nothing, have put their hands up, begged for their life, and then been shot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So like I said, the thing is, like, I know, like myself personally, I've always been taught to know, like, be extremely cautious. Like speed limit, like I pretty much always drive speed limit. I ain't the type of speed or anything like that. I don't jaywalk. I don't do anything that can make a police officer feel like, oh, I gotta go talk to him. Like I don't. I do everything in my power to keep them far away from me, and I've pretty much dodged and I think I've only ever been pulled over once, and that's because I was speeding like late at night. But other than that, never.
Yeah. I've had a couple pretty scary incidents with the cops. Not in the sense that I ever, was physically abused or anything like that, but it was one of those moments where late at night, you're driving, maybe you speeding a little bit to try to get back to the crib, you know what I mean? But I was with my homies though. So, and getting pulled over, and it is just like the scariest feeling to roll that window down and be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Sure. Here's my life. It's the scariest feeling. And feeling like some of the questions are unwarranted, but not being able to speak up about it because you say one wrong thing or you make one false move and it's over for you. So I've only been in a couple of those situations, but it's just terrifying. And with all the social media that we take into on a daily basis now, it's like we're hyper sensitive to it.
For sure.
But it sucks really bad that we have to have those conversations with our kids. Like, I really, in an ideal world, in that Black utopia that you were talking about earlier, I would never even have to have that combo. We would all be respectful. The police that are there meant to protect us would be respectful to the citizens and actually protect them.
Yeah. And I definitely respect that. And even when I was talking to the girl, like I was really just thinking, like, I don't know why. Maybe because my way me and my mom, like, you know, way she raised me, way we talk, like it's always very like subtle messaging and subtle, like, you know,
Right, right.
speeches, so to speak, whatever. So like maybe because the way she did it, it was never like this big thing weighing over me. Of course, like, you know, most Black men, if you see a cop or the lights behind you, you get that, you know, sense of panic inside. But it was never like a thing of like, oh shit, whatever type thing. And but what am I say? Shit.
Nah, nah.
Well,
Lost
I mean,
it.
I just think that it sucks that we have to have those combos,
Of course. Oh, I got
and
it.
and we really do have to be intentional about those things. But ultimately, to me, it comes down to the respect for your elders, as I'm sure that both of you have heard that from your parents growing up. And that was always how I was taught it. Like, I wasn't beat over the head, like you said, Q. Like, I wasn't beat over the head with, you got to make sure you straight around police. It was always more that, like, respect for your elders type thing, respect for authority. Sometimes you don't need to talk when you know, even when you know you're right. Sometimes you don't need to. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. It's a delicate line there. So I think I would approach it that way. But I really do hate that that's even something that I have to think about as far as being a parent. It's just like, damn, man, why can't we just all get along? Like, why can't the police respect us as human beings? You know what I mean?
And I think that's probably why I was never like some big thing on me, because I always understood the country I was in. Like, this country is America, is pros and a lot of cons. So it's like the cop thing isn't like some big thing, because I understand I'm Black in a white racist country. So it's like, y'all just an extension of this system that oppresses me in a lot of ways, from the school to jobs to y'all. So it's like, this is just regular shit. It's status quo, whatever. So it wasn't like the thing. Anyway, though, but I was talking to my friend, and we had a good debate, and I was saying these type of thoughts, whatever. And he said, "Nah, like I actually wouldn't do that. Like, you know, if I feel the need to say something to a cop, I will say whatever. Whatever happens, I'll feel that was right." I was like, okay, like, you know, I
That's
don't.
one way to go about it.
Yeah, like,
I mean, I respect it. I mean, like, if that's, you know, your prerogative and that's what you feel like you need to do in that situation, go forward. Just, I hate to say, just be prepared for the consequences that come with it. Because, like I said, these people are people who abuse their power. If they choose to abuse their power in an instance, then you're at their mercy at that point.
Right.
And like I said, I hate that that's the case. I hate that that's the fact that they are able to do that. But that's the sad fact and reality of it.
Right.
And more or less, my bad to cut you off. And more or less, they're not gonna get prosecuted, and they're not gonna have to face any consequences for their actions.
Right. And
So,
like, it's just a lose-lose. So I don't get like this. Every battle isn't worth fighting. Like, again, and I feel like, you know, this type of conversation, some people can conflate and be like, oh, you're just gonna lay down and be whatever. It's like, no, like you can take that L in that police transaction and then go do some shit that's going on right now, like, you know, the next day. So it's like, it isn't all just, you know, a monolith of like action and lifestyle.
and your pride may be hurt, but you'll be living, you'll be breathing. You can go home and see your girl, you can go home and see your moms, you can go back, you can kick it with your homies the next day and tell them, man, fuck the police, man. They was cutting me out, but you're still there. You know what I mean? And your pride hurt, but at least you got a story to tell. At least you can still breathe. You know what I mean? So
you can make a difference.
Exactly.
Like, you're still here, that you can go out and actually make a difference. You sitting there choosing to have that fight that with that police officer, will just obviously going to lead to you losing. That doesn't do you any good compared to choosing to just listen, survive, and then go about your next day and actually bring about change in a different way.
Live to fight another day.
Yeah, live to fight another day.
Still a sports term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking, and back to that original girl I was talking to, and like I said, the debate just kept going on where she wasn't rolling what I was saying, and I had to give her another analogy because I ended up just watching. Y'all seen Dead Presidents?
I have not.
I actually have never seen Dead Presidents.
All right, I'm gonna just close.
Crazy.
I'm gonna close. But so anyway, so it's a good movie, whatever. But anyway, but at the end of the movie, all this crazy shit happened, whatever. And the main Lawrence Tate, the main character, is again like he about to get sentenced after doing all these horrific crimes. He killed cops, shit like that, right? And the judge is saying he's about to sentence him. So I was telling her about that. I'm like, so let's say you got railroaded, society's fucked up. You don't feel you got your just due in society, shit like that, whatever. Right before you get sentenced, when the judge asks you, do you have anything to say? Would you say, man, fuck this shit. This is some bullshit. I got railroaded here. Fuck this shit. I don't deserve it. Da, 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 da. Or would you wait to get sentenced and then she's like, well, if it's on my heart, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. And I'm like, that's not wise. Like, why would you say it to the judge? He's like, oh, you want double life. Like, oh, okay. You want to never see the day. You want to never see the light of day again. So I'm like, to me, that's like like you gotta pick your battles and realize everything isn't worth it all the time. Like some shit really is a lose-lose. But she still wasn't cool.
Nah. I think that's just like the overlying message, like live to fight another day. And I think that's what some people fail to realize, that it's okay to stand down here to then advance another day. Because that's war. Like that, like we was calling like the protest stuff as war. Like it's okay to back down in some situations. Like you don't meet every encounter thinking I'm going to win. You don't meet every encounter thinking like I got to fight. Like that's not how you live life. Like you don't go in every situation in life thinking that, okay, I'm going to overcome this right now this way. No, it doesn't work like that.
And part of the biggest battles, my brothers and sisters out here, putting their lives and bodies on the line. Because I'm really am scared that one of these days, the switch is gonna turn on and cops start letting the chopper sing, and I'm not looking forward to that day at all as we get more and more militarized in our cities. But one of the biggest things is just getting your voice heard. I hear so many people saying, well, what is this doing? What does this prove? What's the point of this? Is looting and burning stuff down and all this, is this even, how is that progress? Stuff like that. And it's like, man, if we beg you and beg you and beg you, please stop killing us. Please stop killing us. Please, please, please. Silently protest. We take a knee. Colin Kaepernick, shout out Cap, took a knee silently. Even with respect to the military, he asked military people, how should I respectfully do this? Take a knee. They call them all types of MFers and stuff like that. At the end of the day, there's got to be a time where you're like, if you're not listening to me when I'm trying to be respectful and I'm trying to be, peaceful, there does have to be a time where it has to turn up, because you're just not being heard.
Yeah, and this might be a statement. I'm not the most historically savvy person, but has anybody ever been as pressed as long as us?
In terms of
well, yeah, I was about to say that's a tough question, seeing as in terms of America, I guess you would say no. I mean, except for maybe the Native Americans, who,
because there were slaves in other countries, and like,
in
BC, after after the death of Christ, there have been slavery. It's existed. I don't think many people lived in slavery as long as we did, or even like are still suffering from the ramifications of their enslavement
in one spot. Like it's like because civilizations rise and fall type thing. So I was thinking like, because in a sense, United States has been the same empire civilization the entire time since 1700s whatever, and then all that shit happened afterwards. So it's like we've been this entire time just getting fucked over.
Yes.
And they expect us to be cool about it. Like, so side note though, any of you guys have kids?
I do not.
Okay, cool. So let's say, do you guys want kids?
Oh yes,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So let's say you meet a queen, and you got ready to have a kid, whatever. But she said,
Queens, follow me on at allday_AJ King.
Whoever want a baby, but let's say yeah, I don't want to carry it through. I'd rather adopt. I would just feel better.
That's a great question. I mean, I'd be down with it. I have an adopted brother,
Oh, okay.
an older brother who my mom took in when he was younger, and that's the homie, that's the fam. Treat him like blood. Yeah, I think I would be down with that. As much as I would love to obviously father a child, with my own seed, I think giving that gift of a really good family to a child in need is also super dope. And at the end of the day, fatherhood is not necessarily passing your seed around. There's a bunch of deadbeat dads who have passed their seed around and don't take care of their kids. At the end of the day, fatherhood is really giving a child a home, really giving a child hope, and giving your child somebody to look up to, and so stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the exact same way as you. Like, have zero problem with adoption. Of course, everybody wants to have their own child, in their own image, so to speak. But taking the responsibility of adopting a child and being their father, like, I have zero problem with that whatsoever. Like, I've discussed it before, and there's no con big enough. I can't even think of a real con that would make me like no or pause as far as doing it. Because like I said, I know I'll be taking in a child who needs a father, needs the family, and helping raise them.
Absolutely.
Man, y'all some kings, man. Man,
we try to, man.
Yeah, y'all some kings. So let me disagree with y'all real quick.
Oh man.
No, all right. So first, that's what I will say. So I was having a conversation. My man's, he actually went through something like this. He the one that told him about this. And like me, right? So like let's throw him under the bus first. So like he was like emphatically against it. He was just like, oh hell no, like
what? You throwing your man's under the bus? That's crazy.
He's going right under the bus. Yeah, he was emphatically against it, and I was just like, well, so my initial reaction was I understand it. I'm the type of person where I've always been like, yo, pregnancy is a lot. Like, I can totally get why a woman, when men be trying to force a woman to have all these kids, I'd be like, how dare you? Like,
that's another big reason why I'm pretty pro adoption a lot these days. Right.
Yes. So I would just understand. I feel like some people, even women included, will call her like whoever this woman is, like selfish or whatever. Like, no, she just don't want to fucking. She don't think she's up to fucking delivering and carrying a baby.
You could potentially lose your life, and that's the thing.
The biggest issue right there. Yeah.
So I know a quick story. My mom told me a story about a coworker she had. And she's a twin sister. She has 2 kids. Her last one had some type of complications, whatever that means. I'm not sure if it was crazy or low, whatever. But her twin sister wants to be a mom so bad, but she can't have kids. She just wants to be a kid. She wants to be a mom so bad, everybody knows or whatever. So she actually went to her family and said, yo, like, could anybody have a child for me? Like, could carry for me and this and that, whatever. And everybody looked at the twin sister like, you got kids? You can do it for you? And she was like, fuck no. So I was like, again, that's unfortunate, but I understand. Like, she don't want to carry another child. My mom was just like, nah, that's wrong. Da, da, da. And I was like, how are you gonna judge her like her womb? Like, how you like that's just wild. But at the same time, so back to the original question, like I would understand it, but I don't know if I could deal with it though. I can respect it, but I'd be like, like I would feel like a woman I'm with, we're building a life with, I think will have to be like, you can't make a child, like, which is, I can imagine that type of pain, whatever. But if you can't make a child, all right, cool. You person I love, we building with, then we can go that other route, whatever. But if you just saying you just don't want to, which I understand, I'll be like, maybe we just not meant to be type thing, possibly. But no, I respect
it. Yeah, I mean, yo, it's interesting that you bring this up, and thank you also, because I needed a lighter topic, because man, everything going on in the world is crazy.
Bouncing around, yeah.
But I actually had a lady friend recently where I had really deep conversations about this with, because a lot of guys are like that. And even moreover, even if guys aren't taking a hard stance like that, most guys are like, I could, but I really do want a kid. Like I could like adopt, or I could like not, but like I actually really do want a kid.
Mhm.
And so it's tough. It's tough on the ladies out there. That's one thing I really want to, you know, put out there is that that's a super tough decision. Um, I have no idea how our moms and grandmoms did what they did. My mom is one of 10, and I have no idea how that, you know, is even a thing.
Yeah.
So you know, the women in our generation today grow up and they see all that. They see the financial hardship that comes from that. They see the hardship on your body. You know, they see the hardship that takes on relationships. Like once you have multiple kids with somebody, it's gonna put a strain on your relationship. It's hard to maintain a healthy relationship, and sometimes it can even fracture relationships.
And you
So
realize you don't even like all these people. I got all these kids. Everybody don't like each other. We got like 2 that we really don't need. They just over there. Like it's like.
and the ladies in our generation see that. Like the young women in our generation, they're like, I don't need and I don't want to go through that. And I'm either find my king that is cool with that, or F it, I'm alone. And I get where a lot of women are coming from. I really do.
Yeah, the world's too big. You know, you're going to find somebody that's, you know, cool with it. Like, you just gotta be patient. That's the most important thing. Like, I feel like someone shouldn't be pressured into like having kids. You know, if they because they don't feel comfortable for it. Like, adoption is always an option. That's the safest option, and that's why, like you said, I didn't mention it the first time. That's definitely like something I thought of. Like, in terms of, I know, like I'm practicing. I'm entering the medical field, and I've just like learned how dangerous pregnancy can be. And so after like learning about and after learning that, and I even had like a family member who passed from complications with pregnancy, I can understand why any woman would be, you know, terrified of thought and would want to explore adoption rather than even entering it. Because the thing is, like, you could have one kid and die from it. Like, it could be your first pregnancy, you have a complication and pass away. So that's why, you know, if whoever I'm with, if they decided I just want to adopt a child, you know, I trust them, of course, if I'm with them. So it wouldn't be an issue at all.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've always just had that like understanding, like, oh, this shit is really like amazing and ridiculous. Like it's like so many things can happen, like from, you know, something happened to the baby, something happening to you, and premature, and sucking tubes, and more told something wrong with your brain, and like it's like so for a woman to deliver a perfectly healthy baby and nothing's wrong, it's like that's
So
really
that's a miracle.
miracle every single time. Like it's like, yeah, so it's miraculous for real.
So,
And that goes back to like talking about like our parents and how they grew up in a household with like 10 to 12. Because like my mom's is like one of, I think, 10 or 11. Then my dad's like one of 13. And I just don't know how our grandparents did that. Like that's a miracle in itself to have that many kids with, you know, with no complications. That's a miracle.
Horny. Like, relax, get off each other. Gotta take it easy. So how about this? So, you know, I say, I have an expression sometimes. I say, you know, forgive me. It's not that deep, whatever. But I have an expression where I say, God be fumbled. He fumbled a few things. You know, he's amazing what he's made this world. He's done a lot of things. Certain things like you kind of fumble. You rushed. You didn't show your work. You rushed that job, whatever.
You got my man's on here, the Southern Baptist love over
You know,
here,
you know,
man. He looking at you like, what you talking about, G? We don't speak bad about the man upstairs.
Well, hold on. Side note, last episode, I don't know if he finished, if he heard it, but he said the last one, shout out to Frankie Hill. We had a segment, topic on there. We said, who's more famous, Jesus or Michael Jackson? By the way, I said Jesus. I really don't understand how people were saying Michael Jackson. But then I did a poll. I think Jesus lost. It's really beyond me. Like it's just like I did another poll. Martin Luther King versus Michael Jackson. The King lost that one. Like, yeah, so I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But,
I think Mike is probably more famous than Martin Luther King. I think he is. I think so. I think so, man. I think so. I don't think there's like people. I don't think there's like random like white citizens in other countries who know who Martin Luther King is, because you know they never dealt with the problems we dealt with in America. But of course they don't know a Michael Jackson record.
I think the expression "I Have a Dream" is probably some of the most famous words ever.
I do think when you bring in the international piece, that might take Mike over the edge there, because like you said, you probably don't learn about American civil rights leaders or American political figures if you're growing up in like Bulgaria, but Mike crossed over to a lot of those other countries and was there. So I guess if we had to put that to a poll, maybe Mike wins.
So,
maybe.
Like I said, I love hypotheticals, whatever, and I love just asking random questions and stuff. So one of the most devastating moments I've ever had in my life, actually, was when the job I'm at now, started working there a couple of years ago. And, you know, one of my favorite artists is Chris Brown. And they
Trash.
Relax. Oh, we'll get to that.
Speaking of fumble.
Speaking of a fumble.
Oh, really? I mean, we'll get to that. And my coworkers who were like, most of them are older than me in some capacity, you know, whether 3 to 10 years, whatever. And they like, Chris Brown's not a legend. And I was like, oh, y'all got him fucked up. Y'all don't understand. And I'm like, it's just y'all just stupid. That's cool enough. And I really went around where my job was. I was walking around like the building, across the street, like all around, asking everybody, is Chris Brown a legend? And the majority was saying no. And I was dumbfounded. So I say all that to say, I'm definitely going to go to Bulgaria one day. And I'm going to ask them, like, I plan to just travel and ask random people random questions and get my polls off, because I will not let this question die. Y'all disrespecting the king, like, of all kings.
Just play the excuse me miss form and see if they start dancing. That's all you need. That's all the confirmation you need right there.
All right, so back to God fumbling, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
With, like, we are all black men here. You know, I see you got the baldy. Shout out to you, king, whatever. Like, I feel like God fumbled when he just let men go bald for no apparent reason.
You know what?
I feel like there should be a reason for you to go bald. It shouldn't just be just random. It should be like, yo, like, you just don't wash your hair, you don't grease, you don't brush it. Like, Kevin Durant should be bald by now. Just let it go. It's cool. You good, whatever. Like, but like LeBron, he really looks like he cares about his hair. He takes care of it. He looks like he treats it, and he just can't hang on. It's beyond him. That's not fair.
I need Bron to join me, man. Bron needs to come on home and join the squad.
You gotta come home.
Yeah, man. He gotta come home and join the squad, man. I mean, that's funny as hell, man. You know what? When I was a young boy, I came to terms with my baldness as a young boy.
Really?
I've always had a huge hat collection. When I was,
you look good in a hat. I can't rock a hat. You look good in a hat.
When I was 17 or 18, like literally when I was 17 or 18, I noticed the first slide back.
Damn.
And plus my pops is bald. All the men, you get your baldness from your mom's side. All the men on my mom's side are bald. So when I noticed that first slide back, I was like, look, I told myself literally then, I was like, I'm gonna, as soon as it hits heavy, I'm taking it off. I'm taking the top back. I'm good. I don't need it. I'll rock the beard out. Shout out to my Philly brothers with beards. So, you know, I rock with that, but I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure a lot of black women out there would probably say that's what we get for all the male privilege that we get, is we got to have some type of consequences, and I'm sure balding is one of them. But I think bald brothers are winning though. So I'm biased, obviously, but I think bald brothers are winning. So shouts to my kings.
But so you gotta have the beard though. Like, you can't just be bald then with no beard. See, like in my family, like on my mom's side, most of the men still have their hair. So hopefully I keep mine, because I can't grow a beard. So, you know, man, you look wild, weird with no beard and bald. That's a terrible combo. But
although back in like the 90s or early 2000s, it was a couple bald brothers that was like you know how shorties always be on Twitter talking about, oh my God, I wish dudes look more like Morris Chestnut now, or something like that. You know what I mean? There's a couple bald brothers that was winning back then too, and they didn't even have beards. So you know, you gotta swag it out, right? MJ don't got the beard, and
they used to shave their head. They wasn't even bald. Like,
it's true.
This was bald his whole life. He got hair now. Like, that was wild.
The Fab Five. No shouts to the University of Michigan, but Fab Five. They in the 90s they did the baggy shorts, the black socks, and then they shaved their heads, and it was like a thing. Like, yo, this is the new swag. So.
And now look at Jalen Rose.
Now he winning, and he still got
Iconic
the
hairline.
crisp lineup, man.
Yeah. Like
swear.
Shout out to you though. Like the fact you have facial hair, you're not forcing it though. That's one thing I don't understand about men that just don't, you can't really grow facial hair.
Facts.
You try to force it and you look nuts. Like there's nothing wrong with just having a clean face if that's what it is. Don't force it. You look ridiculous.
Facts.
I know. I had a roommate said, man, yeah, man, I'm about to take these beard pills. I said, you better be careful, man, I'm gonna grow a second chin. I don't know about all that, man. I don't know about it. It ain't worth it.
Yeah,
it ain't worth it.
How do y'all feel, since we on the topic of hair, how do y'all feel about the man weave? Get your hairline right, or the fucking man like the beard weave Johns, like maybe getting like the fake Johns. Like, how y'all feel about that stuff? Is that acceptable for dudes? Because our black sisters do this all the time. They get the sew-ins and the wigs and stuff. Is that something we should be doing, or is that just not it? That's never gonna be it.
I know. I know my hair is my pride and joy, and I couldn't imagine losing it. So I feel like if some people feel comfortable only if they have it, and they, I won't fault them for it. I know I couldn't see myself doing like you said. If I ever have the inkling that I'm going bald, I'm just gonna cut it all off and just face the music. I couldn't imagine having to go through the trouble of like doing the sew-in or whatever into my head. Now the beard crazy though. Nah, having a strap-on chin strap beard, no, I can't rock with that.
You gotta relax.
I'm not saying I'll mess with it, because more so I'd be jealous because I worked hard for this, and so I'd be seeing dudes just throw it on, and I'd be like, that ain't it. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I don't know. It might be lit if that's what you into. I think the biggest thing with us is finessing it, because, like, so for me, I can't pop up tomorrow with the man sew-in, because people gonna be like yesterday you didn't have anything. What's going on? But if you finesse it right and you kind of like start to see your stuff sliding back, and then you get it, it could work out.
It's a great time. It's a great time. And that's what I was about to say. Like, I hate like fans like Jamie Foxx, one of my favorite celebrities, whatever. Like, he's a cool guy, super talented. But I fucking hate that he be wearing hairlines like hats. Like, one day he bald. It could be the same day. In the morning he'll be bald. Then go to a war show at night. He throwing a hairline.
Bro, them Jones be like mad boxed too. Like, I'd be like, yo, that's kind of crazy, my G.
Yeah, so that's another point. They be looking trash too on top of it. So like, you should be looking trash, and you've already committed to being bald that time. So no, you can't go back and forth. That's just weird. Like, just stop it. Like, but like anybody, like, other people, I'm trying to think of, like, I can think someone else.
Jason Whitlock, like, he'll be bald one day on set, and then like the next day on ESPN, he'll have like a box, like a box haircut. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, when did Jason Whitlock grow hair? And like I watched like the next show, he bald again. I'm like, oh, okay,
that's weird.
What's the other guy? Like the pretty big nose that everybody, he loves LeBron.
Nick Wright.
Nick Wright.
Yeah, Nick Wright. Like, Nick Wright be bald one day, then you have like, he had a little piece on his head the next day. Then the next day he have a fade the next day.
I thought it was me. I haven't seen him go back yet, but every time I see him, I'm like, that hair just looks strange. Like,
supposedly Nick's hair is real. Supposedly.
Okay.
Like, supposedly he just was like trying to rock the shortcut, and then he decided one day he was gonna grow it out.
Oh,
that's real hair.
You took some pills or something at the least.
That's a good lie. I like it. And we got a whole backstory for his hair.
One of my fave hairlines also is Doc Rivers, because it just like looks see-through. Like he puts like a weird
ever. Like, it's the exact same. Like, it's there, but it's not there.
I used to always wonder. I'd be like, yo, what's going on? But then he turns, and in the back, it's like see-through in the back. And I'm like, yo, dog, like, what's going on here?
It was a wild day when I realized and accepted that Steve Harvey was always bald. Like, that was a wild time.
Yeah.
Back during the Steve Harvey show, that's when I love that show. And, of course, you had the crispy box. Every episode was cool. And then once he finally went bald, I was like, oh, cool. He went bald. That's cool. Then I started thinking, like, was that a wig this whole time? Like, was that shit just never that crispy? I was like, damn, like everything's a lie.
I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Give me one of y'all. Give me some hot takes from y'all. You know, I follow y'all on Twitter. Y'all always saying, "Wow, especially you, Steph Curry, the best player of all time, according to AJ." Type shit. This guy,
Man.
Freddie Gibbs, the best rapper alive.
Oh no. Oh no.
So, what's some hot
Southern
takes?
bias.
You already said some Chris Brown blasphemy. So, what's some hot takes, fellas?
I'll let you get your takes off first, man.
I don't really I just really don't be just living in hot takes. A lot of times I feel like what I say is usually backed up by something. But I know one thing I've been really sitting on though that it's pretty much is a hot take. I'd say Freddie Gibbs probably has been like the best rapper in the past 2 years. I don't think anybody has put out albums and has been rapping as well as him for the past 2 years with Bandana, Fetty, and now this new project with Alfredo, along with his features and stuff. Like I really can't think of another rapper I think has been rapping and putting out music in like every facet, like album feature wise and things of that nature. So yeah, I think he's top 2 out.
That's a good take. I can't really think of someone that I would argue against because you have the output argument, quality projects. I will say I feel the only thing I've always had an issue with Freddie, I feel it holds him back is he's basic at making songs. Like it's like he just gonna rap and he gonna get a fire beat, of course. But just that's why him and Madlib shit was so fire since Pinata. They're like, I'm just give you a bunch of beats and loops, nigga, and just rap. Like, So I be thinking like, you can't just give me like even Pusha T give us songs. Like, like
yeah.
So I be thinking like, so whatever, but yeah, it's still fire though.
But that's what I kind of did like about Bandana, because he did do that on Bandana, some like fake names where he was rapping about his homie. Like he was rapping about people. Yeah, like he was rapping about people, but he wasn't giving away what the names were the entire song. Like he did do some things like that on there. I could see that like on Fetty, he would just be rapping. But even then, like sometimes he would like, a lot of times what Freddie do is he don't like the whole verse be a story, but he's like slides in a story to explain his point. Like he would like, yeah, I told people you shouldn't cross me. Then he would like give an example of somebody crossed him, then he just go back to just rapping. So that's I like the style a lot. But I do get your dig though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like some of the Gangsta Gibbs songs. I mean, I'm tough because I'm so quote unquote woke these days that a lot of the Gangsta Gibbs stuff outside of music rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah,
there's rumors he didn't really live or grow up the way he raps. He ain't really Gangsta Gibbs. He's just Freddie. Like, you know what I mean? And some of the stuff with him and his kids, not taking care of his kids, bugs me a little bit.
I've heard that. Okay.
So yeah, I mean his baby mom was on Twitter blasting him a few.
The Deion Sanders' daughter?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I
know that was the first baby mom, but I know since he might have had like 1 or 2 since then. But
I'm not sure. I think she was in LA though, and she was just like blasting him, and I was like, that don't ever sit right with me when dudes is just like not taking care of their kids.
Yeah.
So some of the Gangsta Gibbs stuff is a little off for me, but I can't be mad at you, because I listen to so much old school hip hop that I can never really give great opinions on some of the newer cats, but I like some of the Gangsta Gibbs songs. So
what do you listen to like recently? Like what's something you've been like revisiting in the past couple of weeks? How you find yourself the most?
Man, that's a great question. I've been really getting into Outkast recently. Like I've been going back and listening to hella Outkast.
Southern Legends.
Yeah, man. I got a homeboy.
They legends. Never been into them, honestly.
Never. Interesting. There's some of. So I got a couple homies like tight that we like cool from Atlanta. So like my homie used to always play Outkast. Back when I was in college, he would play it in the whip, and I would always be listening to it. And now I'm kind of digging even deeper into him. So definitely digging deep into Outkast. I still to this day listen to a lot of Big, a lot of Pac.
Same.
A lot of Nas, even though Nas is a bit of a hotep. But I still listen to a lot of Nas.
It's funny, when the Nasir album came out, I forgot how much Nas was a hotep until I listened to Nasir. That first song, I forgot what he was saying on that intro, not for radio.
A black man created CNN.
I was like, I forgot this is what you really get into sometimes. Nasir.
Yeah.
I was confused, man. I thought, man, it must be an alternate reality. This album dropped in.
Yeah,
He
it's
be
great.
he
Oh, we
be
want to talk about
wilding a little
fumbling?
bit.
We want to talk about fumbling? Nah. Once upon a time, my favorite rapper, still very high regard, but Life after he did Life is Good, yo. I'm like, oh, he about to be on some like crazy run, like kind of like what Hove did after like American Gangster. Like Hove just kept going. Oh, you were the goat after that, whatever. Oh, Nas about to really kind of catch up to Hove in a weird, not really way, whatever. And then he just said, "Oh no, I'm going back down. Like we're going right back down."
And Nas never had the musical sense of Jay, as far as like actually making songs and getting the sonic value right,
He
and he
also
was
didn't
never the
have
business.
that for sure. He also didn't have that. I choose to give him bail sometimes because Hove just had the fortune of just being on the best team of all time in a sense. Like
That's real.
you can just focus on music, game it, business, shit like that, and then you got some of the best producers of the time under one roof and shit. Like Kanye, Just Blaze, fucking Bank, all these niggas just give you the best beats of the era. It's kind of. I've been like, damn, what if? And I've been thinking about that a lot of times, like Drake had a lot. We look at a lot of people who have certain success. They be having teams or shit like that. Ja Rule had Irv Gotti for his run, and Drake has his people. Wayne had Manny Fresh and shit like that, whatever. And a lot of people, DMX has Swiss. A lot of people tend to Eminem, Dr. Dre. A lot of people be tied to certain people. Not look at someone like Nas. They be like, man, he kind of always has like been by himself this whole time trying to figure shit out, whatever.
But he was a trendsetter in that fact. That's what made Illmatic so special, because it's like one of the first like major hip hop releases where a guy went and got multiple different producers to come in and hey, make my album, and then it was like a classic. And more people started thinking like, I don't have to have just one guy work with me.
Facts.
But it would have been cool to like see Nas work closely with like a legendary producer for a good stretch of his career, because he's not the best at picking beats and stuff of that nature. So,
another person, speaking of fumbles, Mississippi, Crit.
Did Crit fumble? I don't think Crit fumbled. Did he?
The streets weren't that crazy about that last album. That's all I'm gonna say. I ignored it though.
I still really respect Crit, but just me, like I won't say he's ass on that, whatever. But it's been a disconnect for me for some reason ever since King Remembered in Time.
Word.
Yeah, like Cadillatica was cool, but it just wasn't it. But I remember him saying like this was going to be, and it was not it really. And ever since then, it's just been like,
he never struck me. He never struck me.
Real quick, it's better that way. I remember that one being like, all right, something here, but he just been like just shooting in the dark for me. But continue what you're saying.
I didn't enjoy Forever Is a Mighty Long Time.
That was a double disc.
Yeah, that's a double disc album.
It didn't click for me. I know a lot of people liked it, but it didn't click for me though. Yeah.
He never struck me as the type of artist that was gonna have a lot of crossover commercial success, like as far as or mainstream success.
No.
Like he always struck me as the type of artist that was gonna be very niche.
Yes.
And so I can't really say he fumbled because I always felt like he was gonna be right where he is. Yeah. If that makes sense.
So he's very Southern. So like you're not really into like Southern hip hop, then it's not. It probably a disconnect. Like you said, you weren't like always that crazy about Outkast, and like Crit might be even more Southern than them. Like we think about like his accent and when he raps and things of that nature.
But I used I like still to this day. Crit was here. Forever in a Day.
Yep. Forever in a Day is still
banging. What was before After Forever in a Day? What's that project?
Return Forever?
Live Live in the Underground. And then Cameron, that's probably my favorite project. I love that tape, whatever. So he has taste, but I don't know, it's just a disconnect on the way. But to your point about like he's supposed to be where he's at, kinda. I always think about just like Currency is always like my barometer. Like I don't listen to Currency. Fact. I don't really like Currency.
Oh, you don't?
But I respect Currency. And I feel his core, his fan base, like you just reacted that way, they are totally satisfied with Currency. Like he's doing exactly what he do with his fan base. Where someone like, and he's very niche at the same time though. Where someone like Crit though, I feel his isn't like that though. Like just like looking at perception of him, like he's doing something that isn't connecting the same way as someone like a Currency would be. And I could think he could have been like that.
I say the main problem with that is Crit is from Mississippi, and it's sad is to say that we don't really support our rappers. That's why almost every Mississippi rapper claim they're from Atlanta when they become hot, like Soulja Boy did that. David Banner didn't do that, but like
Huh.
Well, Ray Sherman them didn't do that either. But a lot of times, like when a rapper becomes big in Mississippi, they say, "Yeah, they say I'm based out of Atlanta. I'm really from Atlanta." Because
Right.
a lot of the music that Mississippi consume is Atlanta rappers. Like that's like yes, a lot of people in Mississippi, what's your favorite rapper? They'll probably be an Atlanta rapper, and that's probably all they listen to is trap music and things of that nature. So like a rapper like Big Crit, who's a niche rapper, his biggest fan base is supposed to be here in Mississippi. But
Mm.
Mississippi tends to check out and don't really care about lyricists. We tend to care more about like the Atlanta trap, records and
Right,
artists of
right.
that nature. And that's probably why he isn't thriving to like a Currency who has like all New Orleans behind him.
Right, right.
Okay, interesting. Um, what should sports do? Should the NBA start right now, soon, whatever, or should they chalk the year? What are y'all opinions?
I just had this conversation yesterday with a really good friend of mine. I I personally would chalk the season.
Mm.
Part of that is as an impartial
Because Steph
observer,
Curry can't play. I get it. I understand. Like,
as an impartial observer at the moment, I'm not necessarily super hyped to see something, but even more so, I just feel like with the target date that they have now, basically most target dates have been end of July, July 31st ish, around that time. I feel like there's just so many things that could go wrong, including, but not speaking on everything, but including something where we get a really important playoff game. Let's just say it's game 5, 6, or 7 of the finals, and somebody makes a mistake, somebody leaves campus, somebody touches the wrong stairwell even, and now LeBron James has coronavirus and has to sit out. Or it doesn't even have to necessarily be that big of a player, but now, I don't know, Kyle Kuzma has coronavirus and has to sit out, and that really affects a series. I don't
like
see
JaVale McGee and something like that. Yeah, like,
I don't see, and basically comes down to me where I don't see a way that we don't have a big somewhat disaster like that. And even if we did get through it and nobody got infected, I don't see a way that we have a legitimate champion. Everybody's going to be rusty. Some teams can practice right. Like as we speak, some teams can practice and other teams can't. Like it's just too convoluted. And I feel like we're going to mess around and get something like the 1999 finals where we get an 8th seed. The 8th seeded Knicks made the finals that year because nobody was really in shape to start the year. And it was so weird and convoluted. And we weren't really on the same page. I feel like we could mess around and get like the Brooklyn Nets and the Houston Rockets in the finals. And nobody will think that's legitimate because we know those teams weren't the top teams in the regular season. So
I'm gonna say I've been in the camp of trying to be as objective as I can because I'm a big NBA fan. I love the NBA and the Clippers. I'm a Clippers fan, and no, this is the Clippers. This is the one time the Clippers have ever been true contenders, had a real shot at going to the finals. Like when Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, they were like, yeah, they're contenders, but nobody actually saw us in the finals. They just saw us as a team that could potentially get there, but nobody actually said, oh, they for sure going to be there. This is the first year the Clippers could ever be there.
I had the Clippers winning this year, to be honest.
See what I'm saying? A lot of people do. Like that's unheard of, and like this is like the first time ever since I've been rooting for this team for this to happen. So of course I would love for the season to come back. I would love to see them, go the distance. But thinking about this from an objective standpoint, it's not safe, to be honest with you. When you think about important players getting sick, or even just a player getting sick and maybe not recovering from it. Because I think I remember seeing something. I think it was Von Miller. I think he was saying that even after like recover from coronavirus, he's still like out of breath when he goes and runs. Because the thing is, like, it does damage to your lungs, and a lot of times when you damage to your lungs, it's irreversible. So if a player could get it, and then it could impact their play from that point on. They may never be the same player because of it, and because for that risk only, I feel like we should scrap the season. But the players are pushing forward, so it's
there's so many, and I didn't even think about something as simple as that, as far as, are we willing to risk long-term health of our players? You know what I mean? That's another factor that they have to take into account. To me, it seems like not worth the risk. Pack it up and come back next season. and we'll get a full season in, start around December, get everybody back on one page. But they need the money. We've been talking about America this whole podcast. They need the bread. The players, and like you said, the players are pushing for it, and they're going to come back. But I think it's going to be just a really weird version of the NBA that we've never seen. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, though, despite the fact that I think we may not get a legitimate champion, it could be really entertaining because I think we're going to see a lot of upsets. I think there's a chance the 1 seed loses in the first round. Like, it's just so many different variables here. And it ultimately is going to depend on who could find time in the middle of a pandemic to stay in shape and practice and team camaraderie. These guys haven't even been around each other. And then the plan is a 1-month training camp. So this 1-month training camp, you're going to be ready to go for the highest level of basketball. It's weird, but they're going to make it happen, though.
So, all right. I actually really appreciate both those sentiments, especially I didn't know about that Von Miller thing, whatever. But once again, I'll be the other side. Because, one, I definitely agree, of course, it's going to be entertaining. I actually don't think, not saying I'm willing to bet it, but I don't think it will be so, like, possibly lopsided or upset, shit like that. I think, of course, there'll be rust, and it may be, like, more Game 7s or whatever, possibly. But I think in the end, like, the real people will prevail, whatever. And of course, the Sixers are going to lose, because Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons have no discipline, and they're going to fuck up and fumble. All right, so we'll get them out the way, of course. They'll lose. But all in all, I think that the right people will win. Like, the Bucks will have their shit together. The Clippers and Lakers will have their shit. Bron is not playing no games. Like, he would have his team ready. The Clippers, and actually, there's a lot of moving parts with them. Y'all might got to Doc Rivers might got to whoop y'all back into shape. But I thought the right people will still be at the right time, in the right place at the right time. And, this whole proposed thing, like the Disney World thing and everybody in one thing, I think that's the best way. Like, if you just put everybody in one thing and just be like, yo, nigga, if you leave, you lose your salary. Like, it's like, we can't afford. Nobody's leaving. Nobody's losing. Fuck your family. Fuck all this shit. Everybody's here right now. Nobody leaves. And we want to have a fucking NCAA March Madness. I think that should be fire. And they talking about to do the 1-16 thing where there's no conferences. I think it could be like a very glass half full, like, amazing event of, like, just,
I think
the Bucks are playing who's the worst team? I don't know. But yeah.
I would be willing to bet that there's no way. I'm not sure how much bread I'd be willing to put on it or but I would be willing to bet there's no way nobody gets infected. And I would almost be willing to bet that there's no way a big time player doesn't get infected and ends up screwing up the entire thing. Because go ahead.
I'm gonna say, to your point, I've asked that question before. I asked a question on my podcast, and I want to ask y'all this. If LeBron James got coronavirus, do you think they would make it announce it? Like, y'all think they'll keep him from playing? Do y'all think that they would say, like, oh, do you think LeBron would come forward like, yeah, I got it, and then sit out? What do y'all think in this situation?
You have to, because it's a public health. It's a public health.
Know how to respond to that
scenario. Dang, man, who hitting you up?
I don't fucking know. I'm trying to get back in there. It's my girl computer. Like, am I on the screen?
Yeah, you on the screen, bro. We can see you.
All right, hold on.
And we can hear you.
All right, cool. I'm sorry. Now you said.
But I think they would have to. It's a public health scare. Like, you can't have him run back on the court and keep playing or whatever. The issue is, would they stop everything if a big name like that? And ultimately, I think the thing is they have to say, if we're gonna start this, we can't stop.
Fact. I agree.
And that's what they have said. They have said that, if someone gets sick, we're going to resume play. That's what they've said. But then I thought to myself, like, would they really do that if it was LeBron? Like,
they would have to.
LeBron,
we lost you for a second, man.
If you think LeBron got it, they won't say it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was. Well, I'm not sure. Like, I feel like they're thinking, like, worst case scenario. I'm thinking, like, best case scenario, a couple of like role players gets it, or someone
Right.
like Donovan Mitchell get it, and in that case, they don't care, or like Rudy Gobert, they're like, oh, they get it, he sits out. If LeBron James came, like he's their bread and butter. If he's plays for the Lakers, if the best player in the world who plays for the Lakers is forced to sit out an entire playoff series, does the league really just go on and just let that happen? And like, it's just knowing
I
how the league
think
operates, it's hard to imagine that they'll just like resume play if it was him.
I think they have to take that into account. You have to
Yeah.
take that risk into account. If you're going to start the season again, you can't, no matter what, you can't then say one guy like LeBron gets sick and shut it down. Now, the thing is, you run the risk of one guy getting it. And again, sports is such a close quarter. This is why we had an issue before. Sports is such a close quartered thing where we shower together, we're around each other all the time. The issue is if one guy gets it, the whole team might get it. And then you would have a scenario where
with the next round.
Yeah, and then you would have a scenario where the league would have to be like, well, damn, there's like 2 guys that don't have the virus on the Lakers. How are we going to continue this series? So, but they have to take all that risk into account. You know what I mean?
Very tricky, very tricky. So we can bounce between sports and music with this, right? So I was having a debate, and so one point blank question: would y'all say Shaq was dominant his entire career?
Not his entire career.
Not his entire career.
No,
I would agree. But he was trying. To me, dominant is connected to your production. Like your dominance,
production and winning.
Okay, cool. I like that as well. And he's like, no, like when Shaq is on the court, you looking at him. He's a dominant force. You're not just leaving him alone. I'm like, I hear you because he's big as shit. But when he was on Phoenix, nobody gave a fuck about Shaq. Like
Cleveland and Boston Shaq were not dominant at all.
Like that's why they lost in Cleveland too. Like
I think there's a point to be made that Orlando Shaq. So he was dominant. But he didn't affect winning in the way that Los Angeles Shaq affected winning. And so I could make a case that he wasn't necessarily a dominant force. He got his numbers and you weren't going to necessarily stop him one-on-one, but he wasn't about to dominate a series in the way of dominating winning.
Interesting.
In the way that MJ did. Like in the 90s, MJ was dominant. You know what I mean? 6 titles out of 7 years that he played in the 90s. That's dominant. Shaq made a finals in the 90s, but then he got pretty much smacked around by Hakeem Olajuwon and all that, and he never really materialized anything in Orlando. So
he got swept by the Jazz.
Yeah, and you can make a case that Heat Shaq wasn't dominant. He was he was putting up like Pau Gasol numbers. If you go look back at his career, he was putting up Pau Gasol numbers in Miami.
18 and 10.
18 and 10. He's putting up
in Miami.
Yeah, in Miami.
No, I'm with you. To me, Shaq stopped being dominant once he left LA. Like he was still good in Miami, but I'm not to call him in Miami dominant.
No.
Like, especially when what I've seen, what you used to do. Like, it's like, but I will say your winning point is good because our dialogue, the conversation, want to say like Kobe once upon a time became more dominant than Shaq. Right. But if I'm taking what you're saying into consideration, I'm talking about like an 05, 06, but Kobe wasn't winning at that point, whatever.
Right.
So is he really dominant? So I actually like that addition to that, whatever. All right. So that's that. What was Shaq's prime? Because I'm gonna lead this into like runs versus prime, and what's really the difference and distinguish of that.
That's a great question. What do you think?
I would say Shaq's prime is LA. That is his prime. But his run is from Orlando to LA. But I think he was running and got into his prime in LA, and then it ended there, and he was still good and serviceable in Miami, and then after that, you were just a player for the most part. That's kind of how I look at it.
I think his prime is when we saw the very peak. Like we okay, that's when we saw when he reached LA, as you said. But like you said, the run, but then that wouldn't be included in the run because he was getting swept and things of that nature when we first got to the Lakers. So the run would then be when he actually ran off those 3 titles with Kobe.
Okay. So the run is after the
That's
prime.
that's a fair assessment too. Yeah, you know what? When you think about it, um, 96 he drops in LA, and then he dips out in '04, right after the '04 season.
Mhm.
I would say, yeah, about 98 to '03 was his prime. Like your prime is you're really only getting about 4 or 5 years at your very peak. And I would probably say that. I think shout out Penny Hardaway, the legend, went on Stack Jack and Matt Barnes' podcast, All the Smoke, the other week. And he even said that he felt like Shaq he was getting his, but he wasn't all the way there mentally, and he wasn't all the way there thinking the game in the '95 finals against the Rockets. And he said he felt like if they had LA Shaq, they win that series no hands down, no questions asked. So I think about 98 to '03 is probably when he was at his apex, and of course they won the 3 titles and all that.
Okay. So then let's bring it into music. What is Wayne's prime and what is his run?
It's a great question.
His run would have to be where he became like, where he started considered the best rapper alive, and where people saw him as that, and undeniable, because like, when he was saying it, nobody really questioned it in rap, and if they did, he's kind of, nobody really paid him attention. It would probably be surrounding the mixtape, surrounding the Carter 2. That's his run, I would probably say, from that point all the way up until maybe No Ceilings, with his prime being like around the Carter 3, because that's when he became like superstar. Like, he was like, all his singles he put out with like some like high charting songs of that nature, and like no matter what Wayne did, he couldn't fail, because he was doing songs with T-Pain over here, and he was doing music with Kanye over there. He was pretty much everywhere. Like, I remember watching like One Sister Park, and like he was on like 5 of the 10 music videos around that time frame, around like '07, '08. So like, I say that was around his prime, with his run starting around Carter 2,
Okay.
and then going all the way up to like No Ceilings.
So to your point, I remember when right before he went to jail, and they recorded all those videos so they could have some shit dropping while he was in jail. And they did like 4 We Are Young Money videos. They did like 4 random songs from Birdman. They were like all these videos to drop at the same time. He was just in jail. And I was just like, wow, like this is different. Like, but it's all just funny, But I was like, would you agree with that, or a little slightly different?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. His run probably starts around Carter 2. His prime probably starts. I'm a little iffy on the time. I would almost say prime was probably starting around Drought 3, because if I'm not mistaken, Drought 3, Dedication 2, and Drought 3 were before Carter 3.
Yes.
And so I think Dedication 2 is when you start to see Wayne at the apex, like every song is hitting. And so that's probably his prime, and the run probably starts at Carter 2 and then goes until about what, Dedication 4? Like, I think Dedication 4 is when I started to be like, okay, you starting to, or not even Dedication 4, it might have been Dedication 3 where I started to be like, okay, we're starting to see
Dedication 3 is before Carter 3, but
okay.
But like, at least for me, I look at it as like, I'm cool. Of course, I think we all got to agree the prime is Carter 3, because that's, or for somewhere around there. I like that you bring up Drop 3. That's a good point, whatever, or Dedication. But like, something has to be said about Carter 3, because that's when shit just, whatever. But at least like, I like, to me, it's such an interesting question, because like the run, because my man, he like to say like the run doesn't start till Carter 3, because that's when like shit changes and he gets to going.
Nah, the mixtape Wayne before Carter 3 was like,
and I feel like something needs to be said about
so
that,
much,
because that set the tone of running, to me, of him getting into his prime of like, oh no, Carter 3 is happening now, but this wouldn't be what it was if he wasn't running already from Carter 2 and Dedication 2 and Drop 3 or whatever. But but I definitely feel, at least for me, I think the run, so again, semantics, run or prime, but whatever, something ends for me at Carter 4. Like I think like
All
Carter 4 is when he came out of jail and he did, 6, 7 and John and She Will.
right.
I thought I remember Carter 4 sold like 900,000 first week. Like it was a big deal still. It was Carter 3, but it was still a big deal. And he still had Drake and Nicki, close to him. So I felt he still had enough hype that like it was like, oh no, you still Lil Wayne. Like, and after that, it was just like, nah.
Yeah, I'm not a human being. I'm not a human being too.
Yeah, and those were like not terrible.
No, that is terrible. 2?
No, the 2 is terrible. I Am Not a Human Being wasn't terrible.
I fuck with 1.
Yeah, but it wasn't his prime though. It wasn't like he wasn't dunking on people like he wasn't Shaq in 2000 on that one. He was like 04 Shaq.
Getting dunked on by Ben Wallace.
Yeah, he was like exactly.
All right, so let's go through. So let's grade rappers on an A+ to F scale, just lyrical ability. Let's see what y'all think of these people. Let's really get some standards going. Wayne, what is Wayne on the A to F scale?
Rapping ability, I'm giving Wayne the A. I won't give him the A+. I don't think he's K dot. K dot is my A+ barometer, but I give him.
Oh.
Yeah, K dot's my A+ for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna say peak of Wayne Powers. I would definitely say like an A, like back like the Drought 3, that Dedication series. Definitely. As of now, like
we're talking about just the best of course.
Yeah. Okay. So like grading his whole career, then yeah, I would give him an A when you consider like his work back in like the 2000s. Because his metaphor used to be crazy. Like that style used to be crazy.
Let's go right into Kendrick then. I would actually argue that Wayne's a better rapper than
Kendrick. Just lyrical ability?
Yeah, I feel like to me, Kendrick is at his best with to me, Wayne can do everything Kendrick can do. Kendrick can do what Wayne can do though. Like if Wayne wanted to, he can to me, Mona Lisa, they did this song together. Like Kendrick is best when he's storytelling, painting a picture with his words, whatever. Wayne can do that. I've seen Wayne, do a whole story track top to bottom, do different stanza of stories, whatever. I've seen, of course, he's not always focused to do that, whatever, but he can if he taps in. But as far as just Wayne, just bar, just endless punchlines, wordplay, Kendrick can't really do that, especially at that clip, like the capacity of it, whatever. So
I would disagree with you. I think much like mixtape Wayne, mixtape K Dot had some tracks in there where he was dropping lines. The track that comes at the top of my head is the Monster Freestyle Kendrick did.
Killed that shit.
He's dropping punchlines in that. Like he's not just conscious rapping. That a lot of people say, he's boring because he's conscious rapper, but he's like dropping lines in that freestyle and like Wayne K-Dot has some punchlines.
He killed that freestyle, and I can name 20 Wayne songs that's better than that though.
I'll say this.
No shade.
Wayne's style is all about punchline. That's his style, and that's not really Kendrick's forte. So I would say that in terms of like wordplay, Lil Wayne would probably have Kendrick beat. In terms of like crafting songs, in terms of like
artistry,
like artistry, or even like painting, like storytelling, I think Kendrick is the better storyteller in terms of like how he paints this entire scene. Like he'll tell you exactly what he was drinking. Like he was drinking like orange soda, watching Martin on his way to meet Shireen. Like he introduces other characters into the story, and he builds who they are around. Just he don't just really tell just his perspective. He's able to tell other people's perspective within the same story, and then build an overarching thing around them. So with that being said, I feel like he's better than Wayne in that regard. So it's hard to say who is better because both of them are like really, really great. One is like elite in one area and the other one's elite in another.
Mm-hmm. I think just lyrically, I'd say Dot is my A+ and Wayne is my A. Just lyrically. I think if you're talking about full artistry, I would honestly go the other way, and I would say Wayne is probably artist-wise a little better.
But. For some reason, I want to give Wayne an A-, not just an A. So that's where teachers fucked us over with. What's a minus? What's not a minus? I don't really know, but I want to give him. But I'll give him an A for now. I don't know why. I forget the minus. Yeah. So you get an A, but Kendrick.
I was gonna say maybe I should give Wayne an A minus because I could think of some rappers I think are better rappers than Wayne. Like if
Right.
you go back to like like I'm saying, I'm talking about Biggie for instance. Like I give Biggie an A plus. Do I really think that it's like Biggie here and then Wayne's like a step below him? I don't think that in that regard. So I probably should give Wayne like an A minus. In all honesty.
Interesting. All right, so we'll get to that though. But so for me, I think I want to give Wayne A minus, but Kendrick a B plus overall
That's
lyrically.
interesting. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm giving him a B plus.
That's interesting.
What do you give Kendrick?
Kendrick is my A plus.
Yeah, I know you say A plus, but I'm talking about Jaywop.
Yeah.
If I give Wayne A minus, then I would probably give Kendrick probably an A minus as well. I think, like I said, like I think Kendrick is elite in like a particular field, like as far as storytelling. But I know that there are a lot far better rappers when it comes to like wordplay and things of that nature. Well, I think he's good. Like I don't think he's elite in that category. If he was elite there and storytelling, I'd probably say A plus. And so I'm gonna go A minus.
So here was someone I give an A plus. To me, they can literally do anything lyrically. Like I've heard them do stories, metaphors, some of these punchlines, wordplay. Lupe is an A plus to me. Like
Yeah, that's the pinnacle. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like really nothing he can't do elite for real. Like sometimes he do it too elite, and it's like you.
Lupe hired and die is hard for me. That's gonna be a no for me, dog. It's gonna be a no for me, dog. I can't put Lupe hired and die. See, this is where music gets so subjective.
Of course,
love Lupe. Great storyteller. He just like bars wise, he's not giving it to me. Like Lupe, I probably give Lupe a B.
Whoa.
Probably give Lupe a B.
I don't know about that one, but I'll say it's like Lupe, like he don't have the straight up punchlines, but it's more so like how he flips words and like how he'll making it. His also his extended metaphors. Like I remember the song "Pressure" with him and Jay-Z, where the entire verse is him making plays on like sewing machines and like he said, Biggie in the how do you say he had 2 pockets, big in the pants. It was crazy. Doing stuff like that for an entire verse is why I think it's something that separates Lupe from like the average lyricist. That's why I would give him like an A plus.
And I feel like I've heard him do punch. I remember when an Enemy of the State mixtape dropped. Like that joint was crazy. And he was snapping on every other people's beats on some Wayne type shit. With of course in a smaller capacity, but like he was snapping on shit. So
yeah. That was my boy before Kendrick though, so I can't just throw him completely to the wind. Yeah. But then you shit on Kendrick now. I'd be kind of look the other way. I'm like, okay, Lupe, man, relax, my guy.
So another person, to me, he has to be an A plus overall. Is Jay-Z. Jay-Z is above Kendrick to me, just overall lyrically.
I think Hove is the best rapper of all time. I think Hove and Wayne are the 2 best rappers of all time in my mind. They're 1, 2, whatever way you want to put them. Mm-hmm. Just lyrically, though, Hove is like A minus.
Okay.
He's like an A minus.
He's the same as Wayne.
Just about. I mean, I think I'd give Wayne an A. I'd probably give Hove an A minus. Dot though is just I'm talking just lyrics.
Yeah, just lyrics.
Just lyrics.
Not talking about flow, delivery, not talking about none of that.
No. I'm like lyrically flow too goes hand in hand with lyrics. You know what I mean? But like just lyrically, like I don't know if there's somebody I would put on Dot's level. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I feel so one reason I put Jay-Z over Kendrick lyrically is Jay-Z has built a career on, and again, like I'm not even trying to make a knot. It's like everybody has different styles, but like to me, Hov one people that can again like do almost any style kind of. So like, but one style to me is kind of like it's like you could do that, or you really different from beats. It's like when you can literally just say anything and it can mean something else, like a real double, triple entendre metaphor type thing. And Kendrick, of course, he'll paint a picture, and it could be, wow, this is what I see you said with these type of words and these description. But he don't really got too many lines where he's like, oh, like that's where he kind of flipped the word to mean this and that, because that's not style per se. Even someone like a Nas don't really go hard in that lane. He'll just paint a picture or poetical type shit, whatever. But
Right.
Hov will really have 3 bars and it could mean say I fell off, something like that, just on the end of what's free verse. It's like, damn, like that's a bar. Like, so
Dot, the only thing I'll say about Dot is he's the one rapper to this day that I know would like consistently like not keep the same rhyme schemes. Like his rhyme schemes are crazy to me.
Yes.
And he was one of the first rappers as a young bull. Like I'm in, Wayne generation. I'm like punchline flow. I mean, keep it going. But Dot came in and was like, I'm gonna rhyme this here, and then the next 2 bars gonna rhyme, and then the 4th bar rhyme with the first bar, and I'm just like, oh, it blew my mind. And I still to this day haven't heard too many artists doing that. Like, there's not. It just is lyrically, Dot has always been on another level for me.
The most famous case is Eminem, but Eminem tends to just throw words in to rhyme together. It don't make sense.
It don't make sense. Yeah.
You start going too far, but Eminem, he's on my list too. He's another person that I would give overall A+. I would give him an A+. Like, it's like he done things with words that
I like him. I really do. And
at his best, Eminem he a different ball. Like,
even at his best, he had a lot of bloopers and like just a bunch of cringe-worthy lines.
So did Wayne.
Wayne did too.
A lot of
Wayne had some cringe-worthy lines for sure.
True.
But
I mean, is he white?
I give M like a B+. Yeah. Like I think I think it's also a longevity piece too. Like I think M
you can't account for that.
I think M fell off sooner.
Of course.
But I mean M lyrically is good. But like, yeah, he has too many times where he's rhyming and it don't make sense. Or he like what's the joint he put out where he was like an embarrassed ostrich. I'm fucking the something like an embarrassed ostrich. I was like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean?
That's all career and longevity and all that shit. That's like Wayne said, I just fucked the Avatar, I just got a blue dick. So that's when I knew that it was over. Like, but it's like, yo, like, we could do that.
There were a few bars before that when I knew it was over for Wayne.
Right. Like people at their best, what we talking about, and just only lyrics. But what say? What was your score for Eminem?
Oh no, I was about to mention a Wayne line, but I ain't about to say that out loud.
Okay.
But I can't disrespect a Southern legend too much. But yeah, I probably, since I gave K Dot an A-, I would probably then have to give Eminem a B+ because I do not think Eminem is a better rapper than Kendrick Lamar.
Gotcha. Rick Ross.
Well, just lyrically.
You
take this one. Another Southern legend for you, my man.
I'll give him about a B-.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the same thing.
He's a good rapper.
Probably say a B- just because I think if we're just lyrically, if I'm grading on like where would I put him next to Eminem, I think M is superior lyrically. But I'd rather listen to Ross because his artistry is so beautiful.
Of course. Yes.
But just lyrically, I'd probably give him a B-. Yeah.
Yeah, I can roll with a B-. Even Ross is my top 5 of all time, actually, just my personal list. Like,
I respect
objective. But lyrically, he definitely is a B-, possibly even C+. Maybe not though, but definitely I would like. I think I roll with a B-. How about a T.I.?
I give Tip a B-. Same area.
I would put T.I. above Ross.
Same area for me. B-, solid lyrically. When his artistry, it takes him to a place where I'm like, yo, he's dope as hell. But lyrically, just a B-.
Okay, because I already said I gave Kendrick. I gave some people A+. I gave Wayne an A-, then I gave Kendrick a B+. But yeah, so I definitely got to give Ross like a C+, and then I'll give T.I. a B-. Shit, I think I
okay. It's interesting.
How about you, sir?
Like I said, We're still talking about.
Yeah, T.I., yeah.
Yeah, T.I.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say T.I. about B minus. I have him around the same speed as Rick Ross in terms of just lyrics only. Like I say, shades below, a couple shades below where Eminem is. So yeah, B minus.
For
Okay.
sure. For sure.
How about J. Cole?
It's a good question. That's a good question. I'll let you take it first, my man.
I have become okay. For a little background is like J. Cole
Uh-oh.
used to be one of my favorite rappers. I discovered J. Cole before I discovered Kendrick Lamar. After discovering Kendrick Lamar, I started learning that there's levels to this.
Yes.
And I started realizing I saw a gap. I was able to
Huge gap.
hear the gap between the two.
Huge gap.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. And so for Cole, I think he had his moments when he was in his mixtape days. These days,
I never say I'm better than a whole, but I'm the closest one. I remember.
And you ain't the closest one.
Not the closest. Yeah.
No, by no means. Oh man, I'm gonna give him around a B minus, C plus.
And C plus is a little low for me. That's a little low for me.
I think he's around where T.I. and Rick Ross is.
Interesting.
I think just lyrically, again, a lot of these guys, so much goes into making good music and picking the right beats and all that. But I think just lyrically, I'd give Cole a B plus. I think he has had moments, like you said, where I thought he was a minus ish range.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, if you look at his full body of work, give him a B plus lyrically for sure.
I would agree with that. I'll give him a B plus. How about Drake?
I would give Drake a B. Because I think he's better than like going by like the current rankings I'm doing right now and building. I do think he's a better rapper than T.I., Ross, and even Cole. Like I do think that when Drake is in his bag and spitting, like he's a force to be reckoned with. But I don't think he's like in the upper echelon when it comes to like being a lyricist. So I wouldn't put him at an A minus with Kendrick. I would put him at a B plus around where Eminem is, because Eminem rhyme schemes when Eminem do choose to be, makes sense.
Right.
I feel like Drake hasn't really touched that type of lyricism.
Yeah, and that's not his game, and he doesn't have to be. He's so dope at putting together great music, finding the right producers, and always making the hits. More slaps than the Beatles. I give him a B plus for lyrics. I think he's again he has had moments in his prime of primes. Drake is kind of like LeBron, where he's like washed, but also still really good.
Yeah.
So prime of primes, I think he had some moments where I would have said like A minus A, when he was really spitting, really, dropping off punchlines in the Wayne kind of vein. But I give him a B plus overall for sure.
So part of me is thinking B plus, but also possibly A minus, because like I feel like he can't do everything. So it's like that's why I don't want to really give him like the A. But now I'm thinking like he kind of like, I feel like Cole at his best, he's giving you music that connects pretty like kind of like straightforward, a bar here and there, but it's like it just connects and resonates with the listener. But I feel Drake does as well. That's what he does best. Drake to me just has trash content. He just talking about bitches for 10 years. Like, like Cole and Kendrick wins, just their content is just better. Just for me, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I get it, Drake. You got bitches. Like you got bitches problem. Like, cool.
Drake has been rapping about strippers and women for
and then you're gonna throw in the occasional mom song every now and then. Like, all right, cool.
Those be fire.
Yeah, shout out to Sandra Rose every time. But the other thing, like when he, like you said, when he really in his lose you and do not disturb at 6 p.m. and 5 a.m. bags, and I'd be like, this boy, like
it jumps out sometimes. So, yeah.
I don't know, like so I think I'll just give him a B plus though for sure, just to settle with it. How about DMX?
That is where I would start to go in the C range. Y'all are gonna hate me. I respect legends because I do think DMX is a legend. I give him a C plus lyrically. And my dogs.
I think I'll be around the same range.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm glad the real hip hop head is agreeing with me, man. I ain't want to come on here and you know
No,
what I mean, sound crazy, but
no,
yeah,
but
X
he's
is
the worst
DMX is.
rapper out of everybody thus far.
I'm gonna say nah, because I'm gonna say DMX has some the worst rapper out of everybody we've named so far. Like in terms of just rapping ability, then he probably would be. Yeah,
just lyrically, yeah, just
because
lyrically, yeah. Mm,
the thing is, like DMX has had some classic verses where he can get up with the best of them
right.
when it calls for it. But like usually, like on his own music, like he's still a good rapper. Like he isn't like he isn't bad by no means. We're doing this rating by putting guys who we just think are just better in that terms of lyricism over him. But like in his own music, he's still a very good rapper. His music always been more about emotion
Of
more
course,
so than
delivery.
than the lyrical acumen.
Right. My biggest platform is don't disrespect legends. So I'll give him
Can't.
a C plus. But um don't do drugs, kids.
No.
He has so much potential.
Facts. I would personally give him. I gave Ti the B minus and Ross a C plus. I would give DMX a B minus. I'm gonna give him the B minus.
Okay. That's nice of you. Shouts to DMX.
All right. How about Nas? Where does Nas rank?
I'm going Nas. I'm going A plus,
A
range.
plus for Nas.
I think
Interesting.
Nas is one of the best rappers of all time. We consider what he was doing on Illmatic to Stillmatic to It Was Written. We think about things like songs like I Gave You Power, Rewind, things like those. Those are songs we ain't really seen in hip hop up until that point. Like he was really pushing the envelope in terms of creativity and in his writing.
I'm going B plus for Nas. I still listen to Illmatic to this day.
Yeah.
I think he's a legend. Again, I don't disrespect legends. But the whole Teppery takes him down a notch for me. The whole Teppery is tough to deal with sometimes. I cannot lie.
I'm gonna give him a A minus. And hot take, Illmatic most overrated album of all time. Only because people consider it arguably the best album. And
There are some people that like every time the Illmatic anniversary comes around, all the hip hop blogs are like, the greatest album ever dropped today.
and it's like, dog, I can name 10 albums in the 90s alone that's better than it. So
It's like, yo, every J album is like better. Like every
Just
J
agree with
album,
it.
I'm like, volume 1, volume 2.
bad.
Like, yo, yeah, you just
So It Was Written is better than Illmatic to me. Like, so it's
facts.
like, what we really talking about? So it's just like weird to me. So I just like saying that because like it's just
I live in New York now, and like you can't speak ill of Illmatic or Nas or anything, or you might catch a fade in the middle of the street. So
I'm happy to hear that because I've been dealing with Nas my entire life. He was my first favorite rapper, and I used to hate Jay-Z because I couldn't deal with just the
I did too.
turmoil of that. So I didn't know no Nas fans my whole life really. So I like hearing that. Like
yeah, you catch a fade for speaking ill of Nas in New York. So I gotta go back home soon. So I'm not trying to be in the streets ducking nobody. You know what I mean?
gotcha.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of New York and stuff, so where y'all reside, where y'all from, whatever. Wherever you consider where you're from, whatever. Do you like or have you like the girls in that area?
What from where we're from?
Yeah, because I'll speak first. Like, I'm from Philly and Germantown. The girls are trash. Like,
Damn, son.
yeah, I always said Germantown girls are trash, and we have arguably probably like top 3 worst girls in the city. Like, I feel like it's like so. I be thinking like I gotta hold that though. I'm not delusional about it. It's like it's cool. Like, so how do y'all feel about the girls in y'all neighborhood?
My hometown, and not. I'm saying Mississippi in general ain't that hot in general, but my hometown
The
probably
southern women though the southern women be hitting, but
in Georgia, Florida,
Damn,
Texas,
damn,
Louisiana. Yeah,
damn,
Mississippi. No, not so much.
damn,
Not as much. I'm
damn.
sorry.
Is
Not as
um
much.
Alabama the same? Is Alabama the same issue?
Yeah, more or less, the Twin State people
Okay,
there here, it's more or less the same. So,
gotcha. I
so
figured.
yeah, like southern in the South, it would come down to like Georgia, Florida, but like Mississippi, nah, not so much. Nah, ain't much hitting on here.
Gotcha.
Just sad facts.
I'm from West Side, West Philly in the building. Shout
What?
out. Again, ladies, if you're seeing me on this podcast, it's at @allday_AJ King. And I love West Philly women. Shouts out to y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody
Getting it out
does.
here. I think the funny thing is West Philly women have everything I want in a woman,
Mhm.
like the fire and the passion. I'm a fire sign. I still really don't know what that means, but I am a fire sign. If
You
that
gotta
means
find a
anything
queen
to
and break
anybody,
it down for you.
you know what I mean? But I'm a fire sign, and I like the fire in women. And like I always like women that got a mouth on them and like speak their mind. And I always find that so attractive because I'm like, that means you care. Like I see it as like that means you care about me. You care about everything in the world. So I
Passion.
love that. But for whatever reason, the West Philly women haven't vibe with your boy.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So they don't be checking for your boy. But I love West Philly women. They're the greatest. I don't really know about other parts of the city like that for real. But West Philly women are A++.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, I gotta come back to these streets, so I'm not trying to get in trouble out here, man.
Yeah, fuck Germantown. Girls are trash. I love Germantown, but girls are trash. I go elsewhere. So how do y'all feel about the Last Dance doc? Did y'all like it, or some of y'all lasting thoughts about it? We can tie that into is he the GOAT or no?
Oh man, we could do a whole separate podcast about this right
Yeah,
here.
we keep that a little short, whatever. Yeah.
Holy crap! I'll keep this as short as possible. Jordan is definitely the GOAT. I like that we're starting to get back into is LeBron even top 2? Like why I don't know when it became the consensus that he's top 2, but it's just weird to me. He hasn't won enough. There's no one else with his amount of titles that we consider a top 2 player ever. No, at all. I'm putting Bill Russell and Kareem over LeBron, so he's not even close. But
all right, so I'm just respond.
But as far as Jordan goes,
Bill Russell.
Shout out Bill.
I would have trashed Bill Russell in 1960, man. You don't get Bill Russell bum ass the fuck out of here.
We don't disrespect legends.
I disrespect legends before 1979. Like anybody before 1979, that shit don't.
Bill was fighting. Bill was fighting for our rights back then. Bill is a civil rights.
I mean, he was a trash basketball player.
He's a civil rights legend and a hoop legend. But Jordan's definitely the GOAT. I thought there were a lot of interesting things that, like, again, we could have like whole different podcasts about it. I thought the best part about the documentary was seeing him tear up and get really emotional about how people perceive him as a leader and a teammate.
I thought he came off very well in it. Like,
yeah, same. And I thought that was the biggest thing that humanized him for me was seeing him get emotional about, I always thought he was just a straight up asshole, which he is. He is a bit of an asshole, but you can see that he cares what people think about him. And I thought that really humanized him for me. So, yeah, that's as short as I can keep it.
I would say I agree as well. It's like seeing humanization of Michael Jordan. We always talk about him as if he's some mythological creature with, no chinks in his armor. So seeing those chinks was actually pretty cool. Also, I loved Rodman stories. Rodman stories were hilarious. I'm be honest, that's probably one of my favorite parts of the entire documentary, as well as learning that Michael Jordan traveled with a cocaine circus. I thought that was wild to think that that's how bad the Bulls were in the beginning.
84 Bulls, man. Boy.
But overall, the documentary was a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff I kind of already knew or had an idea about. So, like I said, the more things I didn't know that much about was like Dennis and like about the contract situation amongst the players. So that was like cool information to get. In terms of like the doc making me change who I thought was the greatest, I still think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. I think there's a conversation. I think we had these conversations. It should be like in terms of who is the best player, who is like the greatest. And when I think of greatest, I think of like accomplishments as an individual. So like Jordan has had he has 6 years, like 5 MVP player on the best team, and he has 6 Finals MVPs. So talking about greatest of all time, that that's him. If you want to talk about best player of all time, I think that's when you can have a conversation about LeBron maybe being the best player, even though he might not accomplish and been as great as Jordan. But in terms of like greatest of all time, like you're talking about how when LeBron become number 2, I thought about that one day. I thought to myself, like, I've only ever heard people compare LeBron to Kobe, and then when he surpassed Kobe, they automatically said, okay, he's second best to Jordan. I'm like, y'all skipped like 4 or 5 players in that conversation.
Absolutely.
I thought that was strange.
So I'll say one of the main things I took away from the doc that I like was I like that it showed that Jordan never really cared about the mythology of him. It seemed like he was always like, I feel like Jordan would have been totally fine if he played more years and he went 6 for 9 in the finals. Like I don't think he really cared about the 6-0 as much as Jordan fans do. He just wanted to play. Like the one time when he was like, yeah, they like, Jordan, would you rather retire early and go out on top? He said, no, as long as I wanted to defend it. Like I have the right to defend it until I lose, like type thing, whatever. Like he didn't like the Orlando Magic. A lot of Jordan fans like to erase that scare like it didn't happen. He was like, no, it happened. Like if he was really that self-conscious about like his perfection, he would have waited till the next year, got in full shape. I just want to play. All I want to do is play my hardest and leave it all out there with us. So I think that's dope because like he has the benefit of him being in the area as LeBron. I'm not gonna say it's like why I can't understand why he can't be so removed, but we're in a social media age. He's constantly being projected upon. He did it upon himself as well, but it's constantly like, no, nigga, Jordan would have did this and da da da. So it's hard to like not to be like the guy said, or I forgot who said, but like Jordan's best gift was he was always in the moment. Nothing would matter outside of that, whatever. I can understand how that can be more difficult now with so much shit going on. But as far as the GOAT thing, I definitely agree. I think Jordan is the GOAT. As far as the number 2 thing, though, I get your point about the accomplishments. Magic has 5 rings. Kareem is always the outlier. Because forever Kareem could be the GOAT. So he's always like just over there. He's a big man too, so it's tricky. Get Bill Russell the fuck out of here. But LeBron, I just feel like when it's all said and done, though, he gonna have 3 rings, 4 MVPs.
He's got 4 MVPs now. Yep.
4 MVPs. He's gonna have second, at least third most points ever. Probably, top 5.
Chance of getting has an outside chance he gets to 2. Second most points ever.
Maybe catch Carmelo. I don't know where the assist thing is at, but he'll have the most points in assist combination ever by a long shot. So, and rebounds at the same time. So it's like that's just a lot to argue against. Plus the dominance he did during his era. It wasn't like it didn't always amount to championships, but he definitely dominated his era. Like and carried teams and franchises and changed whole systems. So I do think he has a great argument to be number 2. And as far as like someone like Magic, I forgot who they said. How is he really over Magic? I just feel bottom line, if you take Magic off the Lakers and put LeBron there, the same thing happens, if not more. So I'm just like
that part. I actually agree with you. I know I get a rap as a LeBron hater sometimes. I think player for player, LeBron's better than Magic. And that's just how I would grade it out.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. What's another one real quick? All right, we already said that. Y'all saw like the NBA or ESPN list that came out, top 75 players?
Yes.
That shit was wild. The more I talk about it, the more wilder it gets. Because there's like a lot of shit you don't really realize until like someone else says it. Like today, I just realized that I knew Melo wasn't in like a couple of days ago, which is crazy. And I realized today that Dwight Howard isn't on the list. I'm like, Dwight Howard not top 75? You got fucking like,
Were they not top
understand it.
75? I thought they were like around 50 to 75, but I just thought they weren't top 50. I can't remember.
It was top 75.
I'm saying was Melo and Dwight were they not in the 50 to 75 range?
They wasn't on the list.
Oh, they weren't on this at all.
Yeah, like I'm saying, that's insane.
I guess for me, it's understandable. You have to Carmelo. I mean, so both of those
Chris
guys.
Paul is over both of them.
That's fair. That's fair. Chris Paul is a top 6 or 7 point guard of all time.
I've had that debate recently. I'm a Chris Paul guy, even though I used to be more of a Chris Paul fan. I fell off a little bit, but I used to feel strongly about that. Now I'm like closer to top 10, like bottom tier 10 though. But I'm not mad at that top 6 thing.
It's tough. It's tough because like a lot of the advanced stats will tell you Chris Paul is one of the best players of all time, and it's hard to ignore those. Despite the fact that he just never got it done in crunch time in big moments in the playoffs. I think
like he kind of should have.
Yeah, and I think the Melo thing is really tough. Didn't win a lot. He scored a lot. He did one thing really well. He had that mid-range jumper. It's tough because the thing about that list was there are a lot of players that you wouldn't put in your list because they played in Bill Russell's era. Mm-hmm. And you kind of have to respect those legends and for what they did in their era. And a lot of those guys, like you're like Bill Sharman's,
cool. Curtis Blow don't rap better than nobody alive right now. I mean, I can say that, but he don't rap better than Kendrick. It's like I don't care what Curtis Blow did at his time, but he just don't rap better than a lot of people after him. So I was like, I get it.
Easy ain't hitting for you right now. Huh?
Yeah, like, we gotta acknowledge and respect how you paved the way, but niggas got better. Like, and it's okay to be like, it is what it is. You dribble with one hand your entire career. Kyrie is doing this and all type of, like, he's better than you. It is what it is. Like, Bob Cousy, get Bob Cousy the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not rolling. Like, no.
I feel you. I feel you there.
Bob Pettit.
Shout out Bob Pettit. Shout out Bob Cousy. I like to respect legends on those lists. Mm-hmm. I think it's borderline with Melo and Dwight. Dwight to me,
Dwight was dominant.
Top 75. Very short period of time. It's almost like it's hard to compare him to Ben Wallace. Dwight obviously was a lot more offensively skilled, but Dwight's biggest claims to fame are the back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year and the finals. And the finals he took the Magic to. You know what I mean? Those are like his biggest claims to fame. And it was such a short period of time, so short-lived. It's hard to put him in the top 75. He's Hall of Famer, though. He is Hall of Famer.
Yeah, without a doubt. People say all the time about Carmelo and Dwight, but they're without a doubt both Hall of Famers.
Absolutely. It's hard to compare people once you get lower on the list. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because then you're really
top 50. It should just redid the top 50 to me. Like, we don't need 75.
No. Right.
That's also how I thought about it. How about this real quick? Another debate I had about like a prime of greatness. So, like, to me, so what do you think about this? If someone averaged exactly 18 and 9 or even 10, whatever, one of those 18 or 18 and 10 for 10 years straight, nothing, no higher, no lower, and then retired, would you call them a great player?
Yeah. That's Pau Gasol. That's Antoine Jameson. I don't think he did it for as long as 8 or 9 years, but Antoine Jameson's numbers were 18 and 9 for a solid amount of time. Chris Webber.
I definitely wouldn't call Antoine Jameson great. Chris Webber for sure. But to me, my response like the Paul Gasol thing though is like, yeah, if you look at like someone like maybe like a Paul Gasol, like even Charles Barkley, maybe it ain't this, but I'm sure it's a little higher. But like their career average is 18 and 10 or something like that. But to me, again, back to the Shaq thing, like I'm comparing you to what you were because I saw your height and your prime. So like to me, your ceiling got to be a certain level for me to call you great or elite or something like that. But if you just really operated at a very just like decent level but never raised the bar, I just can't call you great because how you never averaged 25.
You could be great. You could be great and not a Hall of Famer. You know, it's a difference between Hall of Fame level and great player. You know,
that's interesting. Okay,
I think I would say if you did 18-10 for 10 years. I need probably just a little bit more context because you could do 18-10 and then be like a traffic cone on defense where people just fly right through. And then you're putting on the court doesn't the 18-10 don't really matter if you're letting your opponent get like 25 and 12 on you consistently every night in, night out. Because then you're being a detriment to the team to the point like they don't need you out there. Because I think like Jaleel Okafor, I think when he was on the 76ers, I think that young man put up like 20 and 10 his first season. Then like the next season he was like barely in the league because he couldn't guard anybody, and his style of play was like he was trying to bag people down. But the game it blown past him. So even though his counter stats like he was doing like 20 and 10, 18 and 10. People are like, yeah, I don't want this guy on my team because he's hurting us more than helping.
That's a fact.
Context is also important because there's a guy who just got inducted just got inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Who I just looked it up. His career averages are 18 and 10. His name is Kevin Garnett. So like
ceiling,
but.
His ceiling was higher than 18 and 10.
Not really. KG's ceiling wasn't. I'm not sure KG ever really averaged 20 points a game. I'm about to pull it up now. Okay, I mean, he averaged 20 points a game for a long time. I'm tripping.
He's MVP at one point. Wait,
MVP. And he topped out at about 13 rebounds. So his peak was about 23 and 13. It's a nice peak. His career averages were 18 and 10. But I don't know. To me, if you're putting up 18 and 10 consistently every year, that's all. I mean, that's another guy that comes. Chris Bosh. Those are Chris Bosh numbers. Those are and Chris Bosh is a Hall of Famer. If you're putting up 18 and 10 every night, you're pretty much like almost guaranteed a Hall of Fame spot. Almost.
I think that's true.
Almost guaranteed it.
How about this? Who would y'all rather have, Pippen or Clay?
It's a great question. You can take that one first.
That's tough, man.
I'll take Clay, by the way.
I think Pippen would just do so much for you because he could be a ball handler for you. He can initiate the offense. He can guard the other team's best player. And then he can get his own shot at that, and he can rebound. It's just so many things he can do. The only thing he wouldn't be able to do is be like an immediate off-ball threat, and he wouldn't be able to shoot.
6. That's what he can't do.
He can't be game 6 Clay. A lot of people can't. But I guess it depends on what the rest of your team is going to be. Like you said, like who you want your best player to be on your team. If it was going to be Clay or Pippen, I'm like, well, I think I'd rather have Pippen if it means that, because that means Pippen can probably be initiating the offense. You're going to do him in moments where I need Pippen to get the ball, I need him to do something because he's our best player. Then you got Clay on the other hand, like, all right, Clay our best player, but we can't make the play start with him. Like we got to find a way to get him open. Otherwise, he ain't able to do this on his own, which means Clay would then be dependent on his cast to get him in the right position for the last shot, compared to Pippen, who might be able to create something for the last shot.
For sure.
So are we going with the premise that this is the best player on the team?
Yeah, really, I was thinking about I was going by second rate, but I definitely I like how you expounded, but I'm going by second best player.
Okay. No, if you're my second best player, I actually think no matter what, I'd rather have Klay Thompson. And this is it's crazy. It's crazy that I say that because that just lets me know that I'm a super young and prisoner of the moment guy. But it's offensive production. If he's my first option, I'm looking at a supersized Reggie Miller. We saw Pippen as a first option. They maxed out in the second round of the playoffs. And we saw him, I guess he wasn't necessarily the first option, but he was like a lead wing in Portland. They lost in the Western Conference Finals. So we've seen Pippen in that role. We haven't seen Klay as the best player on the team. But I see him as a maxed out Reggie Miller. If you run the Reggie Miller offense and you're setting a billion screens, Klay might average 25, 26, 27 points a game, whereas Reggie Miller averaged 19 points a game for his career. So that's first option.
Like, he'll snap for a game, snap for a quarter.
Right.
They're just going to do like you said to a maxed out level.
Right. And then second
defense.
option. What? Go up.
That's an and play defense.
Oh yeah, and then you forgot all about the defensive part. I mean, I think Scotty and Clay are both elite defenders for their era.
Yeah.
They're both elite defenders for their era. But as a second option, I'm definitely choosing Clay because he's
Off ball.
exactly he can play off ball. He doesn't need the ball a lot to score. He needs very little dribbles, as you know, the 60 points and 11 dribbles. The 37 points in a quarter. He's Vinny Johnson times 10. He's the microwave times 10. Like he's automatic heat. In big games, he's going to show up. I think his offensive threat just puts him ahead of everything. And then on the same end, he's guarding the best guard every night, the same way Pippen was guarding, your best wing or your best guard every night. Clay's doing the same thing. So yeah, man, that's tough. And the thing is, Pip was top 25 in the new ESPN list. And a lot of people were kind of like, whoo, that's high. That is high for Pip. I love him. But if he's top 25, Clay might have to.
Clay on the list?
No, I don't think Clay was on the list. No, I don't think Clay was on the list. But I mean, a lot of that is obviously you're winning. So like, Clay's not done. He's got 3 chips. He's been to 5 finals. There's a chance he might get to 4, 5, 6 titles as he maxes out his career. But we'll never get to see him as the first option the way we got to see Pip as the first option.
They're not getting 6 rings, by the way. They're not
getting 6 rings. to be determined.
Would y'all rather have Draymond or Rodman? Real quick.
I'd rather have Rodman.
Okay. Real quick. Give me Dre.
All right. And rank these 4 players: T-Mac, Vince, Ray Allen, Pierce.
You got it.
T-Mac, Ray Allen, Reggie, and Pierce.
No, T-Mac, Ray Allen. T-Mac, Vince, Ray Allen, Pierce.
I think I'm going to go the best player there. I would probably say T-Mac, second best player there. I think I'm going to say Pierce. Then I'm going to go Ray Allen, and then I'm going to go Vince.
Okay, that's right.
I'd go T-Mac, maxed out ability there, T-Mac. Ray Allen second, Vince Carter third, Paul Pierce fourth.
Yeah, I think for sure T-Mac 1. I'd probably go Vince, then Ray, then Ray Pierce. I go with Ray Pierce, I believe. Yeah, I believe so. But that's one of the pockets on that list. They had them real close. That's interesting. Like,
I think Ray versus Vince is interesting. Yeah, I'll take Ray though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I definitely appreciate y'all. It was a great conversation. Touched on all sides. I hope y'all enjoyed yourself. It was good.
Oh, most definitely.
For sure.
Most definitely, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
I tried to have a conversation that seems like what y'all both be into, music, sports, type shit, whatever. So drop your social again. People know to find you again. He has a dope podcast, Popular Demand. There's guys in the sports writing. He got all type of hot takes and wild shit on his timeline. So letting the people know where they can find you at.
At all day AJ King, all day _AJ King. Holla at me.
Ladies, especially like ladies.
DM's always open.
And you can find me on Twitter at Jaywop6, or you can follow the podcast at Podcast Demand on Twitter, Popular Demand Podcast. That's the podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else you can stream.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you listened this far, hope it wasn't too ass, it wasn't too crazy. Hope I didn't annoy you or enrage you too bad. Let's listen to past episodes, subscribe to listen to future ones. You can search the podcast on anywhere you listen to audio shit. Just type in RightonQuelive, one word with a QUE, RightonQuelive. And also, I curated a compilation album with a bunch of Philly and Jersey artists. That's called We Are Live. That's on all streaming platforms. Very good music, very dope artists. That's emerging talent. Search that, RightonQuelive, We Are Live, and you'll find out more shit, whatever. So again, thank you, Kings, again. RightonQuelive, we are out.